like I'm wasting all my time, thinking about the things that won't lift me up, wouldn't keep it in my mind. All those things that won't lift me up, I just care about you and 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 I just need some sunlight, feel it in my bones, to get myself together. You can't keep me high, this blood runs through my veins, it's all on you. year, how'd it go? There was nothing inside to just let go. Can't even hold on, I fall apart. Wish I stayed a little while with you. It's deja vu when I'm with you. Where did our time go again? You let it get to you. It left me blue. Walk out of doors, forget all of our past. Pretend you didn't leave while I was crumbling in the dark. Wide awake, but you're not here with me. Yeah, nah, 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 nah. It's deja vu when I'm with you. Where did our time go again? You let it get to you. It left me blue. 'Cause I know it ain't easy not to cry. I can't pretend I'm okay. I won't lie. These blue skies in your eyes, I will never see again. These blue waves feel so light. They take me away. It's deja vu when I'm with you. Why did our time go to waste? You let it get to you. Then left me in blues.
I want you to put your hands together.
Goes to the neighborhood. Goes to the neighborhood.
And welcome him to the stage. Big round of applause.
It goes to the neighborhood. It goes to the neighborhood.
Hello, and welcome back to the SmokeScreen podcast. Sorry, technical difficulties, everybody. We had performance anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
It's performance issues. So we are live again. We had some weird glitch with the streaming software, and then the internet went out.
Yeah, that
Just blipped, and I literally reset everything earlier, checked everything was fine. Anyway, so we're late as hell. That's okay. We normally start at 9:30 anyway. Some would justify.
That's right.
We always do.
Yeah. It was, what was it? Fun with Cards and Comics and Culture said, I know some people put these screens up for like 30 minutes. Yeah, we've been guilty of that before.
We definitely have. But yeah, sorry about that. So we got it figured out. We were on Twitch and YouTube and Twitter or X or whatever, but no. We're here only because that was some issue that usually works fine. And I know it started on Twitch somewhere. It started on YouTube somewhere else. And then...
Yeah, you kept saying we're streaming somewhere.
We're streaming somewhere. But it wasn't until the one I designed, set up with a thumbnail and all the shit that I scheduled yesterday. Anyway, we're here now.
Happy Mother's Day.
There you go. I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day out there to everyone in La La Land. I hope it's a good one for everybody.
I didn't make it to the graveyard today.
I was about to say, you usually do.
And everything. I don't know. It was just too doom and gloom.
I did not see Mom today. I'll see her tomorrow because I'm off on Monday, so I'm going out there anyway. And I got to fix a couple things for her. So I will go see her tomorrow. But anyway, we're going to talk about this damn Karen Reed trial that we kind of got caught up on. I didn't completely. I mean, I know all the basic stuff. We watched a few videos.
Me either, as much as I'd like to.
So that's what you guys come in for, though.
That's right.
Because these people have been following it, and you'll be able to call in here shortly and help us out here. But we know the baseline of it. So before we get started, though, am I missing anything? Can you hear us okay?
Well,
everybody can hear us okay as far as, are we too loud, too low, whatever? Just make sure we're good there. I see Fun with Cards. I see Nightbot. Lady Jen's back. I see Randy Suimatsu. I know he's watching Last of Us. I saw that.
Yeah.
He'll be back in a few. Renee, hello. Let's see here. Diane Harris is in the house. Bandersnatch. No, we're just some people. But yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. That's what you were just saying. Anyway, so we're good as far as sound goes. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say one thing before we get started, and that is that let's not all forget that, John O'Keefe is a victim of something. And when we watched that documentary, remember, his parents were sitting back there all tore up and stuff. Like, there's a whole family affected here.
Correct.
And so no matter where you fall on this, let's not forget, who the real victim is here at the end of the day. And I just would hate for that to go unsaid.
Correct, and well said. And also, me and James were already talking just a few minutes before we thought we were going to be streaming at night. We were actually going to be on time.
Yeah, you were here. Go live.
We were.
Go live.
And anyway, so it can be a lot of people back and forth, a lot of arguments and whatever. It's just opinions,
which is what makes it popular.
Exactly,
on Netflix or whatever.
Exactly. So that's fine. Max. We can have discussions. Let's not if anybody pops in, don't get crazy. You know, some people are going to think. I put a poll up, as a matter of fact. I wanted to see this before we started. I didn't end it yet, but I counted. Let me see this here. We have so far 92% innocent, 8% guilty. So, I'll leave that up.
Yes, it might change over.
I want to see it. I want to see if it does. That was our pre-stream poll. So anyway, again, before we get started, too, if you don't mind, if you enjoy this podcast and this channel and all that, can you do us a huge favor? You can see on the screen there, I put it up on the main screen, are various ways to support us with Patreon or donations through Streamlabs, which you can do here. Obviously, you can join the channel, all that kind of stuff. Shameless self-promotion here. We're trying to get back to this to keep it going and pay for all this stuff because that's hard to do. So thank you in advance. And also, I did see a super chat. Did we not see a super chat?
Yes.
Can I move this? Well, I don't know how to move that.
I was thinking that on my phone.
Yeah. Thank you, Lady Jen, for the $5 super chat. In honor of your presence, is requested that this live stream hope you get that issue fixed. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm glad I'm kind of quick on my feet when it comes to text shit, but damn, it always is so frustrating at the last second because everybody's waiting. Anyway, so I'm trying to calm down. I'll let James start out. What we'll do is we'll go through, I think, for a couple minutes at least, and go through the main stuff.
Yeah.
And then we're going to switch it over to the other screen, let you guys join us as usual, and you'll be able to join the stream and all that stuff as well.
Cool. First off, neither one of us are legal experts by any means. We're just going to share our opinions with you. I'll give a little outline of the, details of what we know from watching the documentary. It was a 5-parter on Max.
Yes, it was. I thought it was 3, and then I was almost done. I was, okay, no wonder we're not.
Yeah, I had to finish watching it at home,
so I was going to get my nose too.
But so, look, we've been caught up in one of these before, where there's like where it looks like there might be a little bit of police corruption and the DA involved and all that stuff. So it's easy to get caught up in this stuff. So I'll outline it the best I know how. I would bet that you guys are way more knowledgeable on this case, especially if you've watched the trial. I've not watched either.
Correct. I've seen clips. Yeah.
So
exactly.
All I know is that the first trial ended in a hung jury, and I can kind of understand why. There's a lot of craziness. So there's a guy and a girl, a man and a woman. He is a Boston cop, and they're just dating. She actually has her own house. He has his house where he is raising his, I think, niece and nephew, or 2 nieces. And I think he had a sister pass away.
Yeah, I think so, because she got close to the kids. I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, that shows he's a pretty decent guy for doing that, raising his sister's kids. So evidently, they argued. I think their relationship might have been having a rough time right when this happened. And they end up going out to a bar on January the 28th, 2022. And if I remember right, they left that bar to go meet up with a group of their friends at another bar called the Waterfall Cafe.
The Waterfall, yep.
And they didn't stay there long. They got there right before midnight, left shortly after midnight to go to a after party at a guy's house. This guy happened to be, I think, the chief of police in Canton, Massachusetts. They have to get directions there.
Yeah.
They had never been there before, evidently.
Right.
And pull up. There's a blizzard coming. Just so happened. Big blizzard's coming in. And they pull up. He gets out of the car. Now, this is according to her. He gets out of the car, goes to the house. I think he goes to one door first, then goes to another. Goes inside. She never sees him again alive after that.
Yeah.
And
let me just add. She said, according to her side of the story, is that she said, "Are we welcome here?" Because it looked like there was no lights on.
Mm-hmm.
So go check and make sure we're welcome here, because they've never been there before.
That's
and
right.
She waited in the car, apparently pulled up like in front. That was the big thing at first. She was in front of the house, not in the driveway at that point.
Yeah, because that was confusing.
Yeah.
Because, the way the documentary
By the way, is everybody still here? I'm sorry. I'm just kind of checking over here while
yeah.
James is talking. I don't see anybody chatting, and that makes me wonder if we're good. I see.
We are good?
I see we're on, but I don't see anybody chatting.
Odd.
I just make sure we're good, because I know we got something going on here, and hopefully we don't lose internet. So anyway, go ahead, I guess. But I don't see any chats rolling in, which is unusual. So that's what I was. Let me just test that while you keep going. There you go.
Like I said, their relationship seems to be either volatile or they're having issues at this time, because she doesn't wait long. According to her, she pretty much jets after about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, it wasn't long. I don't know. She basically just left him and yeah, assumed
So then she goes home to his house and calls him, leaves him all kind of nasty voicemails, calling him a pervert and all this stuff. I never understood why, to be honest with you,
right?
Why she said that. So maybe that's something that came out in trial. And was it like 4 o'clock in the morning? She fell asleep, wakes up. She
texted him all night
long,
like mad texting,
and she never
angry texting.
He wasn't home yet, so she reaches out to one of the ladies that was there, and they decided to go look for him. 3 ladies, her and 2 other ladies,
yep,
ride around. They go back to this house at Canton. And as soon as they pull up in front of the house, she sees him laying on the ground.
Under like the snow at this point, like
right.
some lump there apparently.
According to the other ladies, you couldn't tell that there was a person laying there. She beelined right to him.
Correct.
Which is odd. And she is screaming. She's hysterical. She's saying, did I hit him? I think I hit him. All these things. And they finally call 911 and they show up and handle it from there. Initially,
yeah, Renee, red Solo cups. I know that's coming.
Yeah. Initially, everybody goes home, but then later she was arrested. The girlfriend was arrested, and
it was initially charged with manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter.
Yes,
not murder.
And she gets out, and then she is arrested again shortly after that. This time for murder, and the reason is because they found broken tail light there where his body was at, and her vehicle had a broken tail light
on the rear passenger side.
Yes,
rear right.
So, if we're doing in a nutshell thing, they had a trial, ended in a hung jury. They are currently now in the second trial. The documentary that we watched that made us want to do this goes through the end of the first trial, correct?
Yes.
And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. And that was what I was going to say too, with the documentary. It's like, and this is not very old, obviously. It's a couple
right.
years. It's like she wanted to be in a documentary, and we got to be careful with documentaries because we've been fooled before, and at least very much bamboozled in the way they edit things and the way they take things out of context. So you got to be very careful. We talking about obviously Making a Murder was huge with that. We found out a lot of stuff was, whether you believe it or not, they definitely edited that in a very odd way to set a narrative. So you got to be careful about these things.
If you guys were here for that, you saw that. Like our first one, we were like, F the police and all this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And then that became, it was such a huge, that's why I was saying at the beginning of the stream, huge heated debates. And it gets crazy because people get really ravenous about, one side or the other, guilty, innocent, the cops are horrible. No, the cops wouldn't do that. All that. You can have a lot of things true at once. So that's why I was saying that earlier, but that's the basic recap. Yeah. So, what I took from it, what the main points of the documentary, right, is that stood out was obviously the Google search.
That was a big
point. Right. And then the weirdness of the wounds on his arm, which looked like could have been dog bites. I think this current trial, they're actually going to get the dog. I think they got the bite that was going to get the, what do you call them when they make the imprints of the teeth. Anyway, I think that's happening now, but that, and the first thing I said was, you have to explain this Google search, right? You have to explain the Google search. And what that was, where one of the women in the house Google searched how long, it was misspelled, how it was, how long to die in the cold. Now,
Hold on one second.
Yeah,
the
go
lady
ahead.
that did this is one of the ladies that was in the car with her.
Correct.
Searching for his body.
Yes.
Yes.
And initially, it looked like she searched at like 2 something in the morning, which would have been about the time this had all went down. She says in the first trial, she said she searched that 3 times total, which was on her phone records at 6 something in the morning. And the explanation for that was that it wasn't the time of the search. It was the time the tab had been opened previously, because she was Googling her kids' sports scores at 2 something in the morning, like before she went to bed.
She's basically sitting up in bed.
Just sitting in bed Googling that. And then later opened the same tab when she got the call from her, from, I guess, Karen Reed about, hey, where's John? Let's go look for him, whatever. And then opened the same tab and just searched that in a frantic, because she was being frantic. And that's the only footage you have right there, is the dash cam in the snow of her kind of in front of the car, and she was running around frantic and all that stuff. That's really all the footage. There's no witnesses to this. So there's a lot of weird things about it.
Yeah, there are. And that was, okay, as the documentary
What's up, Godlander? How you doing?
plays out, it gets into like Renee V talks about, and whoever brought up the red Solo cups earlier.
Yeah.
There's some things, and I think, if, let's say you want to defend the police on the scene, they did not have the best weather to be working in.
No,
I'll give them that.
Of course.
I don't like it. I feel like if it was me or somebody I cared about who's laying there dead, I would obviously wish they would, bring out the big guns, tin it off.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like I would think. I said the same thing. Where's the tent stuff? But I do the leaf blower.
Yeah,
you're trying to blow snow off a later time, which I don't think that's just, people make that out to be a big deal, and I get it's weird, but I do understand that they're trying to make do, and maybe they thought that was the best way. I don't see that as a big, like, weird thing to try necessarily, in that situation. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I could see the guy trying with the best intentions.
Yeah, with
but
good
I
intentions.
could see also the defense.
Oh, absolutely,
reaming
latching
them
on to
over it.
that. Yeah.
So it depends on like you say, you can look at it. There's multiple ways to look at this, and red Solo cups are not evidence cups, not evidence bag. That was like a grocery store bag with some red Solo cups with the blood in it, and the things that for me with the leaf blower, you worry about any kind of hairs and things like that getting blown away.
That's
obviously, they'll still be in the general vicinity, but just be gone forever. There's a needle in a haystack.
That's what I was going to say. Mellie's saying she came across unlikable. Immediately the same vibe. I will say that right up front. Regardless of that, she is an absolute diva.
Mm-hmm.
And that I did make the comments while we were watching this, that she's just worried about being on camera, what she's looked like on camera. She said that getting arrested the second time. I can't be seen on TV wearing this. And she even said in the documentary at one point, I just don't feel anything. At this point, I don't really feel anything anymore. It's about me. It's always been about you.
I didn't like that when she said
at
that.
all. Yeah.
And the term, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term resting bitch face.
Yeah, yes,
she
correct.
suffers from that. Some people just have that, but dude, I feel like if my life was on the line,
yeah,
I could overcome that.
Yeah, Fun with Cars comics. That's the kind of way. If even she's not innocent, the way the investigation was done has to be a shadow of a doubt. And that's the thing about these type of cases, and because every other case that don't make documentaries and stuff, they're just regular cases. They're pretty straightforward. It's these kind of weird ones that make the big true crime shows and podcasts, and Netflix wants to come calling. But that's the biggest thing. Was if you believe that it was whether it was because here's the arguments, right? Her side was he went in, she never saw him again. She went home, but was still texting because he never showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of that argument for them was he never showed up,
Never came in.
never came into the house.
They saw the car out there.
Saw the car, and she even texted her, said, "Pull in the driveway behind me." And I don't know if she I don't think she ever did that. There was somebody else at the house who had called her brother to come pick her up, and then he shows up. She's still sitting there in the car waiting on him, apparently. Apparently, he saw her still sitting there alone, didn't see anybody else in the car at that point, and then left. But the sister changed her mind, like you said earlier, and went back in. So called him to come pick her up, and then decides to stay there for longer. And then basically the state's case is because she said and was asking the paramedic and all that, did I hit him, or I hit him, ? In a way like that was question. And that's what I said to you downstairs. If she had that thought, why would she have that thought if it wasn't a possibility? Because they're all drunk, obviously, to some degree. So she thought, okay, did I hit him? So if you have that thought, somewhere in your memory or mind, you think, maybe I did. So she did definitely question that. So that's one thing. But then, she's now certain that she didn't, and it was all a setup from all these people and that's what I'm trying to find, is what that motivation is. Now, we have to mention, obviously, she was texting one of the dudes in here for 2 weeks. She was flirting with him. And this was Karen texting with him. And she even justified that in the documentary. Well, we wasn't married.
Yeah.
Didn't have kids. It's like, you're still dating the dude.
They actually
Look
met
who's in
up.
the house, by the way. Look at this.
What is it?
Who is that? Teflon TV. What's up, man?
Holy shit.
What's up, Tony Teflon? Welcome in.
The
Tony
Don.
says, in the end, she has more than enough to put reasonable doubt. She's getting off. Might have done it. The letter of the law says she would get off. Yeah, it could be. That's the thing about the law, right? It's not really necessarily.
We're all lucky for that.
Exactly. We are. We're lucky we have due process, but it doesn't mean it's actual truth.
But
anyway, welcome in, Tony.
As far as the text and the guy, they actually met up and kissed.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's to me. I guess I'll just come out and say I do lean towards her being innocent, and I'll tell you why is because there is so many times when you go over each little thing, each little item, where you have to. You got to give the state or the police department or whoever, you got to give them so much latitude. You have to go, well, I see, that they did the best they could there, and then you go to the trial and they submit a video evidence of, we never went towards that tail light. And then you find out the video was flipped in reverse.
Yeah.
And then, just there's different things all along the way where for me not to think something screwy, you have to like make up an excuse for them, and they're the professionals.
Right. And, and let's see, who's that? Hot Coffee? Does that stand for Fuck Karen Reed chat group? I don't know what that is, but we're just talking about it, so I'm not sure if that's what that means.
What is it? Where's it at?
Is this a FKR group? I'm assuming that's what that means. And he says he disagrees with something. What's up, Jake from State Farm, by the way? I meant to say that earlier. Tim, interesting that a narcissist always seems to be involved. Yeah, exactly. And Randy's saying, this is a good point. It sounds like she may have hit John's car a while back. Well, she did. That was on camera, and people were saying that she did that on purpose, and also it seems to show why her taillight was damaged. However,
Free Karen Reed.
Oh, Free Karen Reed group. Yeah, no, this is not a Free Karen Reed. I'm sorry. I was just making sure.
Yeah, I thought it might have been what you said,
I just
too.
assume an F is fuck. So,
yeah.
No, this is not a Free Karen Reed group. As a matter of fact, I leaned that I don't think she murdered him. I think it was she could have, but I think it could have been unintentional because she was pissed off, and she did go in reverse 24 miles per hour. Now, again, the timing of that's weird because supposedly, I haven't watched the current trial, but she left at some point, went home and connected to his Wi-Fi right at his house, and then I don't know when the timeline is for that. But was she doing at home going backwards 24 miles per hour? So those type of things are like the factual things that are in a computer that's recorded.
Trial.
Yes,
like
exactly.
I'd love to watch that when they discuss that topic because it's weird.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
goes that fast backwards in a blizzard?
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the super chat. Like I said, the police, they would never do anything wrong. Shit. Thank you, Jen, for the $2. Now, I'm not saying that either. They do a lot wrong all the time. But yeah, so no, Hot Coffee, just to reiterate, we're just having a discussion, and just in just a couple minutes, we're going to let you guys join us and get online and on camera if you want to and bring out some of these topics because there's a lot of weird things going on.
There's one point I failed to make in the beginning. Up until this moment, his family really liked her.
Yes, until that moment.
And
correct.
she really liked them. What I did not like watching that documentary in the trial is kind of what we discussed a little bit earlier. She did herself no favors by acting like she could give a fuck less about their feelings, making jokes when they're 6 feet away.
All that stuff, of course.
So those things bother the crap out
Absolutely.
of me, man.
Yeah, she I just don't get the vibe that she's a good person. It's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thank you, Hot Coffee, for the subscription. Appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. Tony Teflon, I've watched the trial every day of the trial. This trooper blew the whole case. His testimony was the worst. I never seen anyone beat up on a cross like him. Yeah, the first one I did see, yes. And I don't know, but you're talking about the current one. I haven't seen it, the new one. But yes, he did come off as a bastard too. He definitely was texting his buddies about her. You know, she's a whack job.
Yes.
And some of that was boy talk, locker room talk, as they would say. But some, it's still like it don't look good on you as the investigator here. He was also in that video that was reversed, and he was standing there at the taillight. But the weird thing I wanted to mention before we get into calls and all that, okay, you have a busted taillight, but it's supposedly just a little crack. How did this physically happen to bust all over the place where there's like this a lot of plastic pieces, red and white, the clear ones, but while you're hitting a person, because it's not going to happen that way.
And that happened to be where his body was found.
And the way he's
on the road.
Right. Unless he crawled over for a while. I think that's potentially something that could have happened too, but they didn't mention how they cleaned it up and got under the snow. Maybe where there's marks in the grass. I don't know.
Yeah, don't know.
Of course, my daughter's called me in the middle of a live stream. So yeah, a lot of weird things. And he had a glass. Apparently a glass that he had left the bar with. I don't know if he went in, because I had said, did he get that inside?
Yeah, we were wondering where
did he get it from the bar? I don't know.
The SUV does look like it has a mark. It's like a curved mark where it looks like the rim of a glass.
A side swipe.
Could have made that mark on there.
Right.
So, like I said, I lean towards her innocence, but I can't deny certain things look how they look.
Yeah.
Again, I understand how this was a hung jury. Another thing that really bothered me, I was telling Chris earlier, is the guy's house where it happened. As the chief of police, you have all these emergency vehicles out there in front of his house. He never comes out one time.
Yeah, I don't get that.
He doesn't. He was a first responder. He could have offered help. You would think the guy was at your house, whether you were best buds or whatever.
Yeah.
You would offer your help, even if it crossed jurisdictional lines or however that should work.
Absolutely,
that
of course.
causes.
Yeah, that's just weird.
That is weird.
There's weird stuff on both sides of this.
That bothered me.
I'm sorry, Jake's saying too. Didn't they prove she couldn't have reached 24 that speed? You talking about?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. So in the onboard computer, the black box, so to speak, she was going that speed in reverse. Which is, if you've ever driven a car, you don't go 24 miles per hour in reverse unless you mean to. So if that's accurate, that's the data it recorded, but I don't know how they would not prove that. Again, you talking about snowy conditions and all kinds of shit that fucked a lot of this up. So you can't put it all on the cops saying, well, they just did a horrible job. Some of it was due to the weather, and I at least appreciate them trying to improvise with red Solo cups and all that. But again, did it fuck it up? Of course it did. It looks horrible.
If we're being honest, those voicemails she left,
they look horrible
she
too.
sounds like a person who would stomp it in reverse, pissed off.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
sorry. And
we've all gotten hot-headed because of relaionships before.
Yeah.
I've spun out,
out of my driveway.
an argument and spun out, going forward before.
Right.
But so you never know how this shit played out. You wish the cop had cameras out in front of his house.
Exactly. And that the other thing was, I did see a clip of the new trial where there was not a ring camera, that was what they called it, across the street. The cops never got that because it was a different type of camera, and he said he knew what type of stuff it recorded. I didn't quite understand. I guess what he's saying is it would not have been useful or did not record that or something. So maybe there's some details. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing call-ins in just a few minutes. We just want to get like some of the basic stuff out of the way. What's up, Lord Commander Manny?
What is happening?
Thank you for the super chat. $2.90 or $1.99. Thank you, sir. Welcome in. Let's see here. Now, Snobby says, Snobby Kid Studio, Karen Reed's a psychopath. I agree. Whether she did it or not, she doesn't care about anyone but herself, just like the other one, Lori Vallow. I'm not sure who that is.
You see Camden?
No, I did. I was going to read that too. I just said Camden. I said, of course you call. She calls every time we get on live. Every time.
Oh, shit.
She calls every time I'm in the middle of something, whether I'm driving, in the shower, on the live stream. She always waits. I don't know how that happens. Anyway.
I want to tell y'all this too. We said earlier that we didn't realize it was a 5-parter. I had to finish watching it at home over the week.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
The next night.
When I finished that 5th one, I was leaning towards her guilt. All right. Started out the first 3. When I left your house, I was dead set on her being innocent, or it was an accident that she was too drunk to remember.
Yeah.
Then when I finished it alone, I was leaning towards her guilt.
Same.
Dee Brown told Chris.
Yeah, shout out to Dee, by the way. Yeah, she couldn't make it
channel.
tonight, so she wanted to talk about this before we went live, and so she sent me this name. Not only the guy, who's the YouTuber? Coffee Zip
Turtle Boy.
Turtle Boy. Yeah, so I never saw any of his stuff. But he's a pro Karen Reed, free Karen Reed, and he's built his channel around that. But she gave us the other stuff.
Yeah, Microdots.
Microdots. Yep.
And so today, after Chris told me that she suggested that, I watched 3 of the Microdots videos. I highly recommend, if you guys don't know that YouTube channel, they're some of the best made videos. Now, he shows if it's really his voice on there and not a computer. I mean, he shows his side. He's absolutely on about her innocence.
Oh yeah, clearly.
But they're well made, and I did find out a lot of details that I didn't know, and I only assume that they're telling the truth because they're watching the trial and stuff. But then I leaned back again to her not being not guilty. Yeah. So that's where I'm at as of today. I just finished that 3rd video as I pulled up to Chris's
he does
house.
have the good, like the reenactments or the graphics
good.
is really good. But he's, to me, like I told you, it was immediately evident he's putting together his own narrative, and it's a lot of just speculation on you can't hear audio on these videos from the bar and all that stuff. He's assuming a lot of things, and it could be right.
Yeah, could be, but
that one argument before, it was supposed to be a little. I don't even know if it was an argument. It was like the guy looked back and he was saying he was looking back at John, who was still paying at the cash register, and it could have been anybody back there, and there wasn't many people there, but you just don't know. But yeah, I like the reenactments that he's putting in the graphics.
Yeah, they're so good.
Let's see. Thank you, Melly, for the super chat as well. $4.99 just because. Thank you, Melly. Appreciate it. Thank you
so very much.
And Lady Jen says Occam's razor. Thank you, Lady Jen.
That was
for
a
$2.
big topic on one of those Microdots.
Yep.
They were talking about 9/11, and that's how it started out, and it was talking about that.
Hot Coffee, you're saying, well, if he came out, that would have been worse. It would look like he was returning to the scene of the crime. Oh, you mean the cop in the house, that owned the house, I guess. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, we'll get to your call. Well, your calls. We're calling them calls. your connections in just a second. Hello, Camden. We saw you. We saw you. We know you called, and yes, I got your plant. This is my plant. You left it here. It's mine, and it stays in this room. Let's see. Jake says Turtle Boy did a great interview with Unicivil Law from the other day. Yeah, I hadn't seen any of the Jake's Turtle Boy stuff. I started watching what James was talking about today. So we haven't had a chance to dig into some of it, but you got to be careful. It's a lot of speculation, and it's totally fine to get opinions. That's what we're doing here, but just be careful. Let's see. What side of the car was the taillight was broken? It was the right rear passenger.
Yes.
So, in other words, now she did testify, the one girl, and I forgot her name. You probably have the names or memorize them. I don't remember names.
I did write down some names.
She testified that she did see when the guy pulled up, right, to pick up his sister, she pulled up a little bit, almost about a car length over from the front of the house towards the flagpole where he was found. So then she pulled up again, is what she said in her testimony. She pulled up twice where she was basically over at the flagpole at some point. So if she did back up and hit this dude at some point, it would have been on the right rear side. But then how do you get to, like, she would have to go really far up the road to hit him right there if he would have failed immediately. And, of course, it's possible that he got hit in some way where it was his head, or maybe he got knocked out, or maybe he was loopy and crawled out and then it was hypothermia, because I don't think the cause of death was not determined as in like blunt force trauma. There was a weird markings on his arm that they think was dog bites, and they did get rid of that dog, which is weird. But now I think they're going, I guess, like I said, getting the bite impressions. So we'll get maybe some new answers with the new stuff for the new investigation. But anyway, I'm sorry, Melly says, my husband the other day, what's a super chat? It mean nothing, thanks for the kids. I got you.
I love it.
Thank you, Melly. Anyway.
One thing we haven't mentioned is the homeowner had a German Shepherd named Chloe.
Yes.
And found out in one of those Microdots videos that dog did have 2 previous attacks that caused the person to have to go to the hospital.
Right. So yeah. And that was the other thing too. He said a couple things that I had not heard, like you mentioned the stair thing downstairs with the Apple Watch. He had climbed stairs. I mean,
his phone
is on his phone, but his phone was also being called. But there are a lot of weird butt dials, lots of weird stuff about, she was texting him or butt dialed him 8 times in a row, and then, but then on top of that, you got things on both sides are very odd, and it's a matter of if you believe the times of these things or not in a lot of cases. So.
My thing is, if she butt dials him, and
it doesn't go to voicemail.
It doesn't go to voicemail, which is weird. Butt dials can go on and on and on, and you can leave an hour-long message.
Yeah.
But then she deleted them before they got to her phone, and that's weird.
Right, but the other side is like the same girl we're talking about. And what is her name? I know. I can picture her face.
Her name is Jen McCabe.
Jen McCabe. The other thing was she's the one who also Googled how long to die in the snow or in the cold.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be explained pretty well. But then she didn't delete those searches, but she deleted the calls. So those weren't deleted, the searches that would incriminate her, but the calls were. It's so odd.
So the fact that they didn't go to voicemail leads people to think those were quick calls where they were searching for his phone in the house. They were, because if there was a big, fight inside there, they couldn't find the phone and they were looking for it. And that does make sense. That could have happened that way.
Yeah. Now, let's do this really quick before we get to calls, because I know people want to chat and we can bring up these specific topics. Here's the thing. All right, we know that, I think everybody agrees, right, that she did pull up and he at least was going to go in the house, right? Mm-hmm. She was there in front of the house. Mm-hmm. He gets out. Now, if you believe that she hit him, whether inadvertently or not, it would have to have been after the other guy left, right?
No, I've thought about that.
Yeah, I mean,
he
does it
literally
have
could
to
have been
be?
laying over there out of view, maybe in a shadow.
That's true. That's very true.
I thought about that.
But where
It doesn't
she
prove
was,
he's in the house.
so she would have already backed up and then stopped, and then he pulled up,
He
and
pulls
she's
up,
and he's
yep.
and she said she was sitting there like this.
Yeah, so
at 10 and 2, very specific.
Yes.
So
And
that's
I thought
weird.
about
That is weird.
It is. She could have like been kind of in shock.
Exactly. What did I just do?
Yep.
And not knowing what to do. And she
Even
just
though
sat
I
there and
leaned
like freaked
towards-
because she was not in the car at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like, from if you're on the kind of the pro Karen Reed side, it looks like, well, he was not in the car. Obviously, he was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. That's what I'm saying. It's just if she's sitting there so weird, why would she be sitting there like this waiting? You don't sit in the car like that. You're looking
Well,
at your phone. You're calling.
We're
I don't
thinking
know.
the same thing. I think the same things. So I literally said, okay, it doesn't prove he was in the house. He could have been laying there.
Yes.
And she could have been sitting there either
In shock or
she's so pissed because she's just that kind of person that
Yeah.
she's just like, just fuming because the what do you call it? The street sweeper swore on oath.
Snowplow.
Snowplow, yeah.
That was another witness.
He
Yeah,
swore
correct.
on oath. He had a good view and there was nobody there when he came by.
Right, but apparently now they said in the documentary that his testimony had kind of changed a little bit over time with some coaching too. Though it's so many things. Now Tim says just the surface info. She was DWI and driving recklessly in inclement weather, and then beeline straight to his body, asking if she hit him. That's pretty rough shit. I agree. I mean,
It is.
I told James downstairs, if she's saying that at all, like she didn't just leave and go home and been calling him and then call the lady and said, have you seen John or anything like that? She's like, let's go look for him. Where are you going to look, first of all? But then when she says, did I hit him or I hit him, ? That type of thing, over and over to the paramedic who did testify that, who I mentioned to James too, who's not in that little group of cops, friends. It's like she's an outsider. She works for the city or whatever, but she's a paramedic. Testified that she did ask her, in fact, did I hit him or whatever, or could I have hit him or something like that, just because if she's thinking that, in her mind, she's got some doubt whether she did this or not, period.
And one thing I think when I think that, because that, yeah, you do have that thought. I think, and this is why I wish I'd watched the trial, because I don't know if this was brought up. Did she think that because she had seen the damage to the taillight? And
Yeah,
you know what
sure.
I mean? I don't know.
That's what now Second Amendment saying at the time the light was not broken. Well, yeah, we're not sure. We did see the video they pulled from her backing into his car, and it did move. I mean, it was a very slight tap. It would not. There's my mother.
I see that.
Happy Mother's Day, Mama.
Happy Mother's Day.
My mama in here watching this, 'cause I told her about this trial, and so I don't know if she watched this documentary. I told her we were going to do this, but and Camden and Mom's in the chat.
That is really
what the
cool.
hell's going on tonight? Anyway, so yeah, so it's just a lot of weird stuff on both sides. Like I said, I'm going to play a lot of devil's advocate, obviously, because going through this with all these different conspiracies, and I'm into conspiracies, but I just don't believe people can keep their mouth shut very long especially when the group gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Can I see, like I told James, can I see a cop doing something stupid? And then other cops, a couple close friends covering up. Yes, absolutely. But can I see it? As the balloon gets bigger and more people know, now you got wives involved, and you got snow plow dudes, and you got paramedics, and all these people keeping secrets. I just never buy that can happen. I mean, it can, sure, it's possible.
There was
I think it's hard to do.
a clip in one of those videos where her lawyer was fussing because the state delayed turning over evidence. The state, there's something about they knew that there was an FBI investigation and they never divulged that. And so I mean, we do know people protect their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
One point I was wanting to make earlier is he had a friend, a really close friend in that documentary, and he said something about she never called 911. And if she would have called, maybe his friend would still be here. I've thought about that because it hit me hard. That I was like, damn, that sucks. But if I put myself in her shoes and I just left my girlfriend at a party somewhere, pissed and drunk, I wake up at 4:30 or 4 o'clock on the couch and she hadn't came home. I think I would still be pissed that they're not there more than I would be terrified that something's wrong with them so bad I need to call 911.
Right. Yeah.
So
I agree. Yep.
I kind of.
Yeah, and the thing, the last thing I'll say before, and because I know we got to get into some calls here, but the last thing was, we don't know these. Apparently, they didn't know each other very well. A couple of these dudes did. I don't know how close John McKeith was with all these dudes. I don't think they had been there, but they had not been there before. But what is the motive? Like, what is the actual motive of if he walked into the house, if he did in fact go in, and it had to be like the guy said, it had to be pretty instant, pretty fast. What would be the motive for them to attack him because he was chatting with Karen for a couple weeks and they kissed or something? It's just really odd to me. It doesn't seem like that's a motive for an otherwise pretty sane sounding guy to me to kill somebody over. Or beat the shit out of. I don't know.
Could be
I
like
don't know.
when you're drunk, though. We've seen testosterone.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Field guys drunk and fighting over way less.
It seems to me that he would be the type of guy to expose her for texting him and whatever. Then bros before hoes, and I pardon my expression, but the old saying. It's like it seems to me. Again, we don't know the relationship. That's the thing. We just don't know.
You're trying to screw some other dude's girl. There's no bro there. You're screwing him over.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like because of he doesn't have many bad injuries really. To me, it feels like he died of hypothermia.
I think so too. The question is, why was he out there laying on the ground to get it?
Yeah,
right.
Just a fight.
A couple things here, and we get these calls here. Tron says anyone who says she's guilty is based off her appearance and demeanor, not the facts. That's not true, Tron. He literally had dog bites all over, and they got rid of the dog. Maybe
they did get rid of the dog.
They get rid of the dog, but we don't know their dog bites yet. Now they do look to me they don't look like something you get in a car, hit by a car, unless you got drug a certain way underneath the car. But it's just one arm, It does look like it. So we're going to find out, I hope, from the dog. And they're supposed to get the bite impressions. But now you can't just say that if you think she's guilty, it's off her appearance or anything. I'm not going off that at all. I think
we just have to add that.
Yeah, I'm saying that if she did it, I think it's literally like she said to the paramedics and to the women. Did I hit him? I think I hit him. I could have hit him or whatever it was. I mean, if that's in her head, she might have hit him. It doesn't mean she murdered him, but again, that's what the second charge was second degree. So you can't you got to be careful with the emotion part of it. I get it, but let's see. What's Kristen? You can't go the speed claimed in reverse in the distance claimed. Aiden Kearney proved it. I didn't see that part.
Me either.
But I've been in reverse fast. I don't know what they're claiming, but what we're saying, if you go that speed, if you do get to that speed, I mean, you have some intention. You're not just backing out your driveway. So I don't know how they proved that or what. I'll take a look at that for sure. But she did go that speed according to the black box. But and James mentioned this earlier. The timing was supposed to be off because she had already been home and connected to the Wi-Fi. But what was she doing at home going that fast? I don't know. It's just weird. We'll see I'll go back and check that out for sure. And that's why we're doing this. We're going to learn more about it too. Let's see. Fun with cards. Karen was red. Definitely drunk driving. Oh yeah, for sure. Randy, his injuries seem more like a beating than a vehicle hitting him, but I don't hear about the autopsy. Yeah, she determined that she couldn't determine the cause of death. I mean, we're all assuming it was hypothermia, that he was left out there, or if he did get hit, it wasn't like fatal. It was like he was already drunk, maybe got knocked out. I would imagine if he got hit in the road, that he probably crawled a little bit before he got too cold and passed out, or whatever happened. We're just speculating, obviously.
Yeah.
It's all speculation.
Because drunk people usually survive bump ups.
Oh yeah,
So
they're so relaxed.
yeah,
Exactly.
he could have got bumped. It busted his glass.
I mean, it could have been he walked to the door and he had this glass already from the bar because they just came from there. He walks to the door, comes back. They have an argument. She backs up and bumps him, and he falls and whatever, hits his head and crawls over, and she left. And it could be that. It could be he went in for whatever reason, got the shit kicked out of him, bit by a dog, and they threw him out in their own front yard, which is very odd to me. I don't know. Why not throw him in the road where the snow dude could actually scrape him down the road, and that would be the cause of death?
I think Microdots is trying to put out a theory that they put his body in the last place they saw her vehicle.
Yeah,
now,
but that's
I think
what I mean.
that's
like,
kind of
how did they know that her tail light was busted in the
know.
dark in the snow? If we're using the snow thing, like you can't see a lot of stuff. How did they come up with that idea? Oh, I saw her tail light is busted, and they go bust, and then the cop helps them bust some more out. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Weird.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like her lawyer is insinuating that they took more pieces of the tail light.
Yeah, and added them.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
You can make the dots connect if you've got enough time and the resources.
Sure, absolutely. So, all right, what we do, I guess what we'll do, we'll switch over and take some calls or some connections. Yeah. We're calling it a call.
Look, it's going down.
What's that?
The innocent.
It is. Let's see what we got now. So now we're up to 76% innocent, 24% guilty. So we're getting more guilts coming in. 42 votes so far. I want to see how this goes through the whole thing here. So very cool. I'm glad we have these little things we can add, these little polls. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll take some calls now. So if you see the screen now, you can call in with the link up there, or you can scan with your phone. Now, you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. You can use your audio if you don't want to be on camera. But if you choose to be on camera, you will show here on this little box beside us. We have a 5-minute countdown like we usually do, just to keep it fair. We'll try to, we don't stick by it exactly or nothing like that. Don't think you're going to get booted at 459.5 or something like that. But bring up those specific topics and let us know. Again, we have not seen the new trial. Only the old stuff and then some of the videos on it. But yeah, that's a good point. Second Amendment. The bottom line, there's too much doubt either way, so it has to be innocent. There's no smoking gun. That is true. I mean, it's
the way our system
as far as the legal system, like Tony was saying earlier, he's right. I mean, I think she gets off, but does she deserve that? That's the question. Fun with cars, smoke show is what I call my wife. That's why I used that name. I was trying to use, if you see this URL, this tinyurl.com, smoke show join, they didn't have smoke show available. I had to put join on the end of it. So, but that was going to be my little side thing I was going to do. That smoke break, smoke show, and the SmokeScreen podcast. That's what we're trying to do.
You said Tony said he's watched every.
Yeah, he said
trial.
Teflon said he did so far.
Get in here, Tony.
Yeah, where's Tony at? He hadn't. He commented something else about
drifted off.
Huh?
He might have disappeared.
Yeah, it looks like he did, at least for now. Anyway, so yes, let's get in here and tell us why you agree or disagree, or what you think, or if there's a certain little thing that you have questions about, or you want to bring up. Feel free to jump in. You see the link there. Let's make sure this is active, because I have to make sure, because we have those tech difficulties. Let me make sure that our little thing is working. Guest cam. Okay, there we go. It is active now. So now if you use that link or the little QR code, you can join us. We'll hear a ding and we'll add you to the show, and then we'll start the clock on you. Hot coffee while we're waiting. What are you disagreeing with? We said a lot of stuff. So just want to make sure. Let's see.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the chat. I'm trying to
read.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. They never. Okay, I'm sorry. Second Amendment. They never tested the arm marks for DNA. They tested the shirt and found pig DNA, which I've been. Yeah, right. Correct. And they were speculating on how they found the pig DNA.
Maybe a dog treat or something.
Dog treats or something could possibly, but they didn't. They couldn't prove that either way. But again, the question is, again, it comes back, is there DNA from somebody who's been laying out there for hours and hours in the cold? I don't know. I mean, but they didn't find that. So if you believe the DNA directly, there's no dog bite. So it was something else. But how do you get, I've been in a fight, right? A lot. I've never got scratches unless unless I'm drug against something. It's just weird, but it does look like an animal.
Couch Cat says, I believe the dog issue is irrelevant. He did not have any indications of being mauled by a dog. A bite mark on the arm is not going to kill you.
Correct.
My thoughts, Cat.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Did he walk in the door? The dog startled, bit him. He kicked it, and that started the fight. Because they're saying this happened instantly. So
they would pretty much. It's almost like an ambush.
What happened to cause it to happen so quickly?
But at the same time,
you could see if you pop in, startle a dog, it's going to jump on you.
Right. At the same time, though, like would you get mad because he's defending himself against a dog that's attacked two other people, and they got rid of the damn dog?
People protect their dog, are so protective of their dog.
Oh, sure, but it seemed like they didn't care after that, though.
The guy is already fucking wanting his girl too.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say really quick. I know we got somebody just joined, but I was going to say now he did follow through, and he was definitely. I told my girlfriend, look, the way he responded, he was not being the super aggressive one. She was reached out to him, and he was responding because he was down to get laid, right? Of course.
Yep.
But he wasn't being the super aggressive one either. So, I don't know if that
his feelings were hurt in the bar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He said, okay.
Oh, look who we got here on the show.
There he is.
The one and only Don, the Tony Teflon. What is up?
What's going on? You hear me?
I can hear you.
Good, man.
What's up, Tony?
Good to see you.
I'm sorry. I know you have the 5-minute.
No, you're fine. We rerun it, but we don't stick by it. We got our own rules here, just to keep it fair.
I have a couple of things, beyond this, and I want to talk about this, but just to talk to y'all directly and stuff real quick. So let me just say that SmokeScreen, and unfortunately, y'all just see the green screen behind me, but it is what it is. First off, let me say to you, Smoke, James, thank you so much. And I have said this on my channel, but I have not had a chance to say this to you personally. When I put out my book and everything, you were the only one.
Yes, sir. Same with you, man.
One.
Really?
The same thing with me, man.
That's frustrating.
Doing YouTube that actually big up me and promoted me, and I 100%. And if you didn't put out your book, I wouldn't have the guts to put out mine. Right.
So that's awesome, man.
Thank you for that. 100%.
Yes, sir, dude. I'm Tony. I told you this before. We talked before. It was so frustrating in it. I mean, I get it, dude. It's the same with me. I don't understand it, man. I promoted Quinn's book, your book, because I love to see people step out of their comfort zone and do something. And YouTube's hard enough, but when you start getting in the books, man, come on. I don't get it.
Especially, the niche we were in, right?
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
people with George R. R. Martin that used to read and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna try my best to put out something for myself, and it's hard. But you would think that certain people that you've been cool with would at least just shot you.
Nope, not happening. And number two, Tony, one thing that was also just as frustrating is as many books as I sent out to everybody in this community, I didn't get a single ounce of feedback ever.
Yeah, he was wanting some feedback.
I don't know if they wrote. I don't know if they ever read it or not. No clue.
It's foul, and I'll just say that I want to thank you personally about that 100%. And I said it on my channel, but in case you haven't seen it, I want to say thank you 100%.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Hey,
yes, sir.
and
Not a problem. That's automatic.
We did mention that was your second book. I still have that book you gave me on my bookshelf, man. I'll always appreciate that, dude. That was really cool. Deontay Wilder book.
Yeah, Tony, put your book in the chat, man. Shout it out. Link it. You're an admin on my channel, so put it in the chat.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, so I will get to this. So I've watched every day of this trial since this came out. Every day. So I'm pretty well versed, and I think that what people have to understand, the worst thing that happened here, to me, the worst thing that happened here is she backed into him without knowing and killed him. That's the worst.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Murder or secondary, that's not what happened.
I agree.
That's the worst thing that could have happened. You know what I mean? Not saying it didn't happen, but I think the people have to look at what we are dealing with here. We are dealing with a lot of rich, privileged people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who usually the side of the law is on their side.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up slanted towards that way. This is what we are. We're talking about a woman who has a second house.
Yeah.
Right in the Hamptons and all. Over there in Boston where it's all and all this stuff. They're rich, privileged people that we're dealing with here.
Tony, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure y'all can hear Tony okay now. Somebody said your volume was low, Tony. I think I got it now, but just want to make sure.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Can y'all hear Tony okay?
Clear.
I got you raised up a little bit there. I think it's a little better.
Perfect.
All right,
perfect.
good. Thank you, man.
You deal with people like this, then you're going to get slanted situations. Now, I'm not saying whether she did it. I'm not saying whether they beat her up, but I'm saying we have to deal with that situation of the privilege that these people have.
Yeah.
And when you deal with, the cops in this situation, let's just say for a second that she did do it. They definitely, without a doubt, slanted things to make it look like she did it. So even
It feels that way.
They push things to it, and it's undeniable that they push things here towards her to make it look like she did it more than maybe she actually, maybe they didn't have all the evidence in their favor. And they said, we got to do something here to make sure that everyone knows that this was the case. And they definitely did some underhanded stuff that they did to push it towards her direction. And when you're dealing with someone who is as privileged as you, they are going to call out these situations, not just like they did, and I hate to bring it up, but the OJ trial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He most likely did it. He most likely did it, and I will be the first one to say I do believe he did do it. But did the cops push things towards that factor?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did.
They absolutely.
And he got caught because the people have means can point out these things that they did that a normal person like you or any of us did. We can't point to.
Good way to put it. Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when it comes down to it, I think it's more like that. So I do believe that she will get off because they have done such a bad job at it that her lawyers can point it out. Like it's obvious that they can point it out that they've done such a bad job at it that there's no way she's going to get convicted. So whether she did it or not, I cannot be sure of it. I'm not saying, but they no doubt the cops did push things and do things that were conspicuous to make it look like she did it a little bit more than she did.
Let me jump in on that because what throws me is I think they did push some things to try to make it look so bad that what they did is they started to define the laws of physics with some of the stuff they did.
Right.
And that's the part that bothers me is because if you really think about how that would go down, all the evidence ain't going to be like his phone's going to be laying under him perfectly. The glass is going to be sprinkled on top of him. And, and I don't know. I totally 100% agree with what you're saying. And Chris and I have always leaned on that we don't think she tried to murder him. If she did hit him, it was an accident and might have been rage or whatever.
It may not even been an accident. Maybe she meant to hit him, but she didn't mean to kill him.
Didn't mean to kill him. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just too many weird things on both sides. So I don't know.
Does she have the same lawyers as the first trial, Tony?
Oh shit. Tony locked up. We still here? We still online, right? We got a bit rate thing, but we're a good connection. I think we lost Tony. Tony, I'm not sure if you're still here. Give me a second to reconnect. Yeah, hot coffee. I think that's what I think right now, at least. Again, my mind can be changed for sure.
There
he goes. Okay.
That she went out there. I'm good.
Yeah, now we lost Tony's audio. Tony, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're back. You're back. We lost you for a second. You locked
bit.
up for a minute. That's okay. We got you back.
So what I was saying was, this is not a Suge Knight video set.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes,
right.
exactly. If everybody gets that reference, I hope everybody
Dude,
gets
yeah,
that reference.
he intentionally ran over somebody.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if she did it, she was mad. She bumped him. She meant it. You know, that let him know she was still there, but not. She didn't do it intentionally.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, and I think that's what I mean. Because that tail light thing is not going to, unless he was already somehow down and got hit in the head at that speed. I mean, I don't know, but that's a little much with that. But I do think she knocked it down. Maybe he hits his head. Maybe he's woozy. He's already drunk. He crawls over there. It gets cold. That was the end of it, I think. So it's very odd. Very odd.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think that they have, made evidence up to the point where it's obvious now to a lawyer who has money that you did this, and y'all put this in it, and they can put the other cop in there who said she had a flat ass and do all this.
Yeah.
Right.
You can weave all that in there.
Yeah.
To say they had a fight, and she was talking to the one cop, and like cops, I think cops are kind of like entertainment people. That they date the same people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Can't find nobody else. You got to keep dating the same women all the time.
Right.
That they're around, that they can use that to, he was jealous because of this. He got jealous in that. Not saying like that this didn't happen, but they can use that in there to filter everything out. And in the end, when it comes to guilt in this country, it's about what you can prove, what's reasonable and what's not. And when you look at reasonable doubt, she has too much reasonable
Will you
doubt.
pause the thing?
The chat?
Yeah.
I'm
stop
sorry.
it from rolling.
Yeah.
Let me read this while you're on here, Tony. Noel Swo says she knew she hit him. That's why she panicked when he never called or showed back up. I could see that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Then the circus show had to begin, and she needed witnesses. Hence why she woke two people. I cannot dispute that. That
that's
makes
a good
lot
point.
of sense.
And
Right there
she's
to me.
adding to it. Noelle is also adding. She backed up going 25 miles per hour, and that's not an accident.
Yeah, listen. You hit someone 20 miles an hour, something bad could happen to them. I've seen people hit a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
Not that happened to them, right?
That's
Multiple times.
That's what we said the first night.
Right.
Yes, backing up 25 hours on a regular pavement and in the snow is different. All right, that's a different. I'm from Queens, New York. I know all about snow. Moved to upstate New York. I know all about snow. 25 mile per hour in the snow and 25 mile per hour on flat ground is a different situation. It's different friction dealing with and everything else here. But when you deal with, in the end, to me, is her intention was, I'm going to back up to this guy and kill him. I don't believe that was the case. Maybe she did it to say that I'm mad at you. I'm going to hit you. You know what I mean? And this is what you get.
And I was going to say, too, like she could have done that to not really intentionally hit him, but scare him, assuming he would move. Never know. I mean, just don't know. I think she was pissed off.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Clearly, all night she was pissed off.
Yeah, I know a guy who was mad at his wife. His wife was flirting with some dude, and they drove home together. And he was mad at her, and they were driving through town like 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. And he was like, stop the car, let me out. And she refused to do it. He opened the door, jumped out, and wound up killing himself.
Wow.
At that time, and died, right?
Wow.
Right. Now, listen, it's 20 miles per hour. You try to jump out. When you're thinking 20 miles, 25, you're not realizing how fast that really is.
Yeah.
Right.
Put you out there, and it just so happened that he smacked his head and he died from it. But it was an argument and everything else, and he was mad. He wanted her to stop the car. She wouldn't stop the car, and he did something rash.
Right.
I would think that it was something rash that she might have been dealing with him, not thinking that much damage could be done.
Correct.
At that speed.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking at the thing and revving it up and saying, I'm going to hit him at 30.
Yeah.
You would just hit the gas and whatever speed it turns to. And that's what it would be if she was mad, if that happened. But in the end, I think that they fiddled with the evidence, all these dudes, without a doubt, either to take the blame off themselves or to take everything. They fiddled with the evidence to the point where she now has a viable way out of this, and there's no doubt about it that she does, because it's undeniable that they fiddled with the evidence, that they may have scattered. You can't have people go in there and all of a sudden while they're in there, they don't find nothing, and then the next day or whenever they come back and now there's other pieces here and they find someone grabbed the bag and it's your name on the bag, but you didn't sign the bag, and now you don't know who signed the bag. I mean, it's obvious that Proctor was the one who did that and everything, and you don't want to say that Proctor is the case agent in the situation when he is, because he's toxic. You know, it's just that they've done too much in this whole situation, and for that reason, in the end, I believe that she will, in the end, be acquitted of this crime.
What about this? The people, somebody in the chat earlier said that they removed and replaced or removed a piece of carpet inside the house, and then they sold the house. So could there have been a situation where he goes back to the house and goes in and says, that crazy bitch tried to hit me?
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
Now he's back in the party. He's calling her a bitch in front of this dude who has a crush on her. He's already tanked up. They get into a scuffle, and he falls and bumps his head. And then they go, well, we got to cover this up somehow. He said she tried to hit him, yada, yada. I don't know. I'm just throwing it.
No.
I mean, well, you could say it. It's a lot. That's a lot to. So the whole thing that I look at, the more it is to believe, the less likely it is. You have to go through a whole lot of hurdles.
Right. I agree. 100%.
In order for that to happen. This guy, when it seemed like from the text messages, he was down the fuck.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to no beef about it.
That's what I was saying. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Everything he could to avoid. Like, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Well, I mean, what do you want?
Yeah. I thought you were happy. I thought you were happy. I assumed you were happy, he said. Yeah. So that's what I was saying, Tony, about the whole thing. And before we let you go is, you know, you're like you just said, the more complex it is, the less likely. And that's what I think this whole case is anyway, for a bunch of cops and wives and everybody to be covering it up. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And see, I thought that about the cops. I was saying it earlier. I was like, I think there's just so many things you got to excuse for the cops that's why I'm, you know, against them. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can look at it either way.
I know you got Diane here. I know. I see it patiently waiting. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. But I'm saying, in the end, to me, the cops fiddled with the evidence, and that's why, whether she did it or not,
appreciate that.
In the end, she will get off of this thing when it's all said and done. And I don't think that she intentionally meant, if she did to murder the dude, I think she was just drunk and she was mad, and it's just something that happens, and that's what it is. But she will get off because the cop definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah, there's too much doubt. Yeah, exactly. There's too much doubt either way. I think you're right. I mean,
whether it's just to save their name or anything else, but they definitely did it. But James, before I go, real quick, James. Terrence Crawford, Canelo, we know it's happening.
Yeah. I like Crawford. What do you think?
I think Crawford wins.
Me too, dude. Yes.
I knew there was boxing coming up before Tony left. I knew it.
I'm glad to hear somebody else. Dude, Canelo has more stands than anybody I've ever seen. Now, he's awesome, don't get me wrong, but he's not invincible.
No. Crawford, I think Crawford really beats him up bad.
I love it. Yes.
He's going to beat him up bad. Thank you for having me on.
Thank
Smoke,
you.
Y'all know how you can contact me. And again, thank you, Smoke, for all.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. And Tony, after we'll take a quick break here in a minute. I'm going to go grab your book and I'll show them. But if you want to put that in the chat, man, put it in the chat and a link to it, to Amazon. I always want to support, you know, content creators and independent artists, publishers, or whatever. Is such a hard thing to deal with and do, as you know. You're lucky to make a little bit of money back on what you spent, you know, producing the damn book in the first place. And I don't get a quick shout out. I'm not entitled to it, but it's like, I feel like I know these people for 10 years now, and it's just insane to me. I don't get it, but I'm glad you understand.
Yeah. You go to cons.
Yeah.
Hang out
Exactly.
And you think people like, we're friends.
Dude.
And you think they'd be happy for you, and in the end, it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Like I said, I don't want to come off as entitled, like you owe me or some shout out or whatever. But it's just I naturally want to do that for people. I always have, and I know you did for me as well. I tried to send this man a book. He was like, no. I'll buy my own. I'm like, let me send you a book. He said no, because I know how people are. Just let me buy my own. You get the money from it. So
same thing. When your book came out, I bought $100 worth of books for you, and I gave them out to my channel.
Yes,
same thing.
And very much appreciate that, man.
And I give it out, and I didn't do it with any intention that I'm gonna have something coming out later on, because I didn't know.
Yeah,
right? And I did it because I wanted y'all to succeed, and you're my man and everything else. In the end, the only one who returned the favor for me and anything is you. You know what I mean? And that's facts. And anyone can dispute it to say whatever, they can come on with me and say what I'll say right in their face. That's
well, man, really appreciate it, man. And Tony, we're gonna get you on here for a full regular podcast at some point too. We talked about that a couple of times. I'll reach back out to you for sure.
We've never hidden the fact that you're our guy, man. We really enjoyed meeting you and hanging out with you, and you're salt of the earth, man.
Yes, sir.
Love you guys.
Yeah, love you too, man.
Yeah, I'll be good.
All right.
Stay sexy.
Thank you. There he is. Tony Teflon, the one and only. Thank you, sir. Very cool to have Tony join us. Let's catch Diane. I know Diane's waiting. Let me get her in a second, but let me just make sure I know we missed a lot here.
JB said death by Three Stooges skit.
Yeah, conspiracy to put off is a lot worse if it's true. That's what, Randy, okay. Monica sort of lost here, but great entertainment, great. Tony Teflon called in. Thank you, Monica, and welcome in, by the way. I saw you earlier. I didn't want to interrupt Tony there. Yeah, there was something about the shoe. There was a shoe found, and somebody said something about a different shoe. This new trial, they're saying it's a different shoe. I don't know anything about that.
He had two left feet.
Yeah, apparently. Let's see. Lady Jen, you can type type in the tinyurl.com/smokeshowjoin directly. You don't have to use the QR code if you can't work. I did test that. It works fine for me, but sometimes it's your camera. You got to focus it. So if you want to just type in directly in your browser, computer or phone, you can do the browser. Okay. I don't have a doubt. I think she did at Hot Coffee. I think he said it before there. What's up? Nata is in the house. Happy Mother's Day.
What is happening?
Hot Coffee Chats. I have to say I agree with you regarding Aiden. Which one is Aiden?
I don't have Aiden written down.
Yeah, I heard somebody mentioned Aiden earlier that I just saw when I will apologize, trying to keep up with the chat and the live call-ins here. Kevin from South Boston. Anyone who thinks she is guilty clearly didn't watch trial one. Watch trial one, then reassess that answer.
I'd like to. I need to go.
Yeah, I'd like to see the full thing because we know. Believe me, Kevin, we've got bamboozled before with documentaries. We absolutely know there's more to it than we see. Absolutely, we absolutely acknowledge that. No, he has discussed. You should watch his live stream. What she calls women. His nasty mouth. He was calling what? Exex Alonso thinks yes was crazy. Karen.
Oh, the person they said to block or something, or Turtle Boy.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. See, Cameron's out. Turtle Boy is awesome. Y'all just haters. I don't know who you. I guess they're arguing in the chat because I don't know Turtle Boy.
I think so.
Okay, all right. So we got. Let's see. Diane Harris is waiting, and here we go. Welcome back, Diane. She has been on the show 3 times.
Awesome.
Back on the clock. What's up,
Are
Diane?
you familiar with this case, Diane?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've learned more from this podcast than I have from the news.
Oh, right. Cool.
It's too confusing to me.
It is.
I mean, it's confusing, and I'm like, no, I just quit listening to it. And then
there's a lot to it. It's a lot. It's a lot of complicated, weird little things, and then it's enjoyable to talk about these things. We got to remember that somebody's actually died. But, the more people talk on podcasts and, true crime things and shows and the news, the more things get convoluted because you're not sure what to believe, because if you hadn't seen the trial yourself, it's very convoluted.
I think that most likely what happened is she just got mad. I think she just backed up to bump him. because like a woman, you want to get the last word. And
She said it. She said it, not
She
us.
did. And I think people,
and I think she bumped him too hard, and then she realized what she done, and she panicked.
yeah. It was,
maybe-
I think it's,
Top of her mind
I think it's
was,
highly likely.
did I
do.
hit him?
Yeah. It's just what it boils down for me is just like all these things had to happen for it. Like if that happened, let's say even if it wasn't planned, or he walks in the house, he gets his ass beat or jumped on, the dog bites him, whatever it may be,
Fell through a trap door.
exactly. But it's just like, okay, you
I
gotta
don't
find
I know.
out.
I don't either, Diane. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to find out if you're going to pin it on her, right? This is what I mean. You got to find out somehow that she, like you said, maybe he did go in there and say, "Hey, she tried to hit me" or something. You have to know that she had that intent, or that their tail light was busted to some degree, and then you got to put him over there near the car instead of in the road where he could have actually got drugged by the snowplow coming through, and that would have been actually a cause of death. I mean,
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to put him there, and you'd have to know this information to even cover it up. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to go into detail like Tony Teflon. He's just way up there, and he knows more about it than I am. So I'm just going to what I said. I think that she just gave into the anger,
Yeah.
or just.
She's definitely a rage machine.
And people underestimate what people do in rage, and then you add alcohol on top of it.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's very possible that somebody put it in reverse and aimed it at somebody they loved
Yeah.
in a fit
It's
of rage.
happened. It's happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot worse. I mean, not that that's not bad, but I mean, a lot worse as far as how somebody's killed has happened
Yeah.
on video. On video. They don't care if they're at that point. Yeah.
Not in this day and age, they don't care.
Yeah.
But James, I wanted to ask you, how did that go with that link I sent you about your student loan? Did you have a chance to try that?
Yeah, I sent it over to
Yeah.
him that night. Yeah.
I clicked the link, and a boxing glove came out of my computer screen and punched me right in the face. No, I haven't messed with it yet. I'm sorry. But I do have it. It was a rough week. I won't go into it because it's like that's my MO on here, is to tell y'all how bad my weeks are. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I have the link. Thank you so much for that.
Well, I hope it works out for you. I really do. I've had a couple of weeks. I've had electrical problems, plumbing problems. The Xbox I was using decided to go to that big electronic.
Oh,
Oh, Lord.
And then my hard drive crashed on my laptop, so I had to get another one.
Oh.
No.
Hey, by the way, Diane, I know you don't play. I don't know if you play DBD. I know you watch me play DBD on Twitch, but Walking Dead's coming.
Is it?
To
I've
Dead
been
by
trying.
Daylight?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
They just announced it. It was the hidden thing, but they Walking Dead. Oh, and The Witcher. The Witcher skins are coming to DBD. The Witcher 3, specifically.
My niece plays it. She absolutely loves it. Right now, mostly what I've been playing is Fortnite on
Yep.
Cloud Gaming.
And I meant to get back on there for the Star Wars thing, just because I know we got a Star Wars thing going on right now too, but I hadn't.
Have you seen the new GTA trailer?
Yes,
Holy crap.
I know.
I've been playing the OG, Fortnite OG, because I
Yeah.
just can't get into the Star Wars. I
Yeah,
mean, it's great. They've got a lot of stuff on there. I'll play it every once in a while, but I'm not a big fan of it as I thought I would be. I missed the previous chapter.
yeah. And I played, so I just got burnt out so long ago. But I did update it, but I just haven't been on there in a long time. So, but
Cloud Gaming has gotten so glitchy and lagged that I can't play it. I mean, it'll
yeah,
have
you
my
can't do that
turn.
with gerbil internet. You can't.
It wasn't bad. I was
No,
able to
I'm just
play
messing
Cloud
with
Gaming on it for a good long time. I don't know. I think all the storms we've had lately has somehow just messed things up.
Something messed something up here.
Yeah, we
I'll
had
tell you that.
just literally coming on, was going to start the music, and here we go. The internet died. It was crazy. Of course, it's just perfect timing for us.
And yeah, and I'm losing you now. You're kind of lagging, and
Uh-oh. Well,
And
Diane, thanks for joining us again. This is the
Yes.
third time she's going to join every week. It looks like
love
very
it.
cool. We got a constant. We
We can always
guest.
count on
Yeah,
Diane.
always count on
no
Diane.
punches for doing that. I look forward to it.
I
Yeah, these
love
are
it.
fun. We're enjoying this format here. So hopefully with these topics, they'll get people involved. So thank you, Diane.
Yes.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Did you get your helmet?
I'm sorry. My what?
Helmet.
Yeah, somebody asked me that in
No,
real life.
I have not. No helmet
When you
yet.
get that, you
I
have
hope
to
I
wear
do.
that.
I hope I do. Jake was in
thing's
here
awesome.
earlier. I saw Jake in here earlier. I wish I could have that helmet. I told Jake it'd be right back here. Maybe I'm gonna meet Jake in person somewhere and get that helmet. I'm gonna get that helmet, Jake. Oh
He
Lord,
wants a helmet.
I do. I mean, he showed it. He showed it to you. You shouldn't have showed it to me. No.
And I did leave a review for your book when I ordered it from Amazon.
Well, thank
and I
you.
think
Thank
that
you.
I think you're perfectly right to expect some type of feedback. I think that's the least that the people can do.
Well, yeah,
If
it's
they're
like I
really-
said, I'm not entitled to any of that stuff. They don't have to. They're not. It's not their job or whatever. But it's just something you thought would happen, And Tony
Yeah.
experienced the same thing, and I know exactly what he's saying.
It's a common courtesy that they should have at least left feedback. And it was a good book. It's a
Well, thank
really
you.
good
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really
agree,
appreciate
Diane.
it. Each and every person that did.
Anybody.
Robert from Indie Geek, he did shout out. Not on YouTube did I know of. And again, I could have missed some stuff. They're not saying I don't see every video or live stream. He did mention on like Twitter, Instagram, or whatever. But other than that, it was just Tony. Tony was giving away books, doing he was showing it on YouTube, the biggest platform you have. So anyway, it is what it is.
Just
It's
wait.
fine.
Just waiting for the sequel.
Me too.
I know, me too. I'll tell y'all when I have the thing that I need to get it going. That's what I need. But I got some ideas.
I'm also waiting for Southern Stark season 2.
I know. I know. Those are so fun, but they're hard to do. He was supposed to play Robert. We got to get that going, man.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Well, Miss Diane, thank you so much for joining us yet again.
Yet again. and
There's
I'll
some
try
pig
to-
DNA on Robert, wasn't there?
That's right. Exactly. All righty. Thank you, ma'am. You have a good one.
You too.
All righty.
Thank you. So good to see you.
You too.
All right. Thank you, Diane. All righty.
I hope you guys don't mind. I need to pee.
Yeah, we can do that. We can take a quick break, and I'm gonna
And-
grab Tony's book. And
I think
there's Dark
Millie
Side
said
Droids, by
goodnight.
the way. Yeah, Millie said good night. Sorry about that, Millie. It's hard to balance chat and live
It
people,
is.
but you understand.
Good night, Millie.
Let's see. I guess there's some people arguing. I'm not sure who we're talking about in the chat. We got some arguments going on in the chat about stuff. Monica, just 1 minute. I did pitch in with support too.
And
Did we miss something?
Aaron,
Did I miss something from Monica?
Aaron and somebody else are talking about it, and I'm just gonna be honest here, and I do kind of still support Steve Avery, but I'm not sold like I used to be. I'm okay with him being there because he's took it to every level he can take it, and there's something that
Yeah.
I'm missing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's too many. We will potentially get. Brenda says she's open to have him come back on the podcast to answer very specific things because I mean that was a big thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's too much. Like I said, with the conspiracy stuff, there's just too many people. I don't know.
Is there a way that we could have her back on and she would be able to take calls?
Yeah, we could do this right here. Yep,
Really?
just like this. Yep,
I think
exactly.
that would be cool to bridge that and let people.
Yeah,
ask
she
her
would. She would be
questions.
on her, Skype or whatever call we use, and then we could just take calls exactly like this. I think we can pull that off.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. Dark Side Droids, Mr. Neff, what's up, man?
Hello.
Welcome in. All right, so we'll come back in just a second. James has to take a leak. He's dying over here. So let me give y'all some nice music. We'll come back, take some more calls, and if like any of those specific little things, feel free to bring them up. Let me move this over here so I can see. We'll play out some great music, and then we'll come back, take some more calls, and talk more about this whole Karen Reed case. And we wanna gauge our little thing here. We got more of guilty now, 27%, halfway
62
through.
votes.
62 votes.
I'm
and now
impressed.
we're getting somewhere. I want to see what that looked like through this whole stream as we talk about it and people bring up points and counterpoints, et cetera, et cetera. All right, keep it civil in the chat. Keep it civil, people. It's just opinions. That's all. So let's go piss, and here's some great music. We'll be right back. Alrighty. We are back. Let me stop this loud ass music. I need my stream deck over here for this. All right, and get back to this screen here. If I can find it. All right, I just typed in the chat, by the way, Tony's book.
Yes,
Let me go full screen for a second. Darkest Before Dawn. So this was downstairs because I'm still reading it, but this is Tony's book. You saw Tony on here. He wrote this about 2 months ago. It came out 2, 3, something like that.
Time flies.
Yeah, I know. It could be a year already.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Jessica, there she is.
Hello.
She was all looking forward to this. Was the first one to comment. She just woke up. Look at this. Anyway, so Darkest Before the Dawn. This is Tony's book. It's a kind of a true crime thriller. That we're speaking of true crime. These take a lot of work. You got 2 books right here from YouTubers who covered Game of Thrones and shit, and that's what we're talking about. Nobody shouts them out.
Yeah.
But I always did for him, and he did for me. So there's that book. I put the link in the chat right there from Amazon. I'm not sure if it's available. I think he did it through Kindle. So very nice, very good so far. And check out and support local, or I should say independent artists and authors and all that stuff. I shouted out the Ripperverse people and all the comics, and I just don't understand it. But here we go.
And
anyway, there it is.
Speaking of writing, I am... I did not publish a blog.
Yeah, I
this
liked
week.
your new post, by the way. I fixed it up for you. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, and I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I've got one that I've already been writing, and I just haven't finished it and published it.
Yeah. What
You're
I'll
gonna
do
be tickled
when
when
I
you
was
see what
doing
it's
more
about.
vlogging and stuff, I would type it in Word and then paste all that in there. And
I've
then
been thinking
format
about
it.
doing
You
that.
can do that too. Yeah, you can just paste it. Okay, so let's get back to some calls here. I know
You haven't seen that yet, though, right?
no, not through
You're gonna be
whatever your
like
newest one.
Yeah.
is. No, it's up now.
No, I haven't published it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't even been on. I got I did get the thing back for Google Ads on there. So anyway, Jessica. Now she's supposed to be this case expert here.
Oh.
So let's see what happens if Jessica wants to join. We're gonna
Join
go
us.
back to the phones as we call them. So feel free to join us and talk about this case. Any little thing here, like the little details. We just kind of went over a really big overview. There's lots of little stuff here that's annoying on either side of it.
I need to ask a silly question. How did Tony know Diane was waiting?
He saw the.
Like, where do you see?
Well, I guess he sees. They also see somebody in the queue. I guess. 'Cause
Okay.
I've never been on that end of it, but
Oh, okay.
we have a guest, Hot Coffee.
Hey, Hot Coffee.
Welcome to the SmokeScreen podcast.
Welcome.
You're up. You're on the clock. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
First of all, I do not subscribe to the frame up.
Okay.
I can't see it.
Okay.
And I mean, I have watched this case and done a lot of research with it. And so today I was just kind of like, I had some kind of a clarity with this case. And it's interesting when I was watching an autopsy with this doctor, I can't pronounce her name, and it's all the main injury of his body was on the right side. His
Yes.
arm
Correct.
And his knee, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you following me?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then the tail light is on the right side. And then she said I could have, snip him or hit him in the knee?
Yes,
So
she did. Yes, I think you're right. I think she did say something about maybe
Yeah.
hitting him in the knee. Correct.
She sure did.
That's right. Now that is a hard bone. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, it just goes to show that I could see her doing that because of this whole testimony.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially now that you mentioned that. Yeah, there was the right side only. Now the arm still weird to me. Now somebody did say obviously that it could be a dog bite or bites or scratches. That if there is something busted or whatever, that could kind of rub across, I guess, and create those kind of wounds. But again, haven't seen any testimony on that. I haven't seen any. I don't know if there's anything new in this trial yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the arm does it's throwing me off right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think they look like dog bites, but I am not an expert. So
Yeah, it looked like I could see maybe some scratch marks in there if you kind of really look for it. I don't know. It is odd, but that is a good point that you brought up, the whole thing about when you get in a fight or you get beat up or whatever, it's not going to be just the right side.
Right.
Yeah. And was there a mark on his face or something? Am I missing?
Yes, there was a mark on his face.
Yeah.
And I think, according to my notes,
She's got the documentation.
I like this.
She's prepared.
I'm a trained journalist, so
nice.
And I love paper. I love that somebody else uses
I
paper.
used to be a live streamer with these cases.
Oh,
nice.
awesome.
Very cool.
Well, the right arm did have abrasion.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then the left hand, had abrasion, and then the left hand had a scratch, which leads to could have been the glass.
The glass.
The glass.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. So he's holding the glass in his left hand.
Yes.
As I go along. Now, do I feel like she's a bad person? No, but she's just not a warm, fuzzy person.
Yeah, she's definitely.
No.
That's a good way to put it. She's not
really
warm and fuzzy.
But do I think she was out to get him and to kill him? No, I don't think she's a killer.
Right.
So
because back in the day I used to drink, but I don't drink anymore. But we get that booze in.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can do anything, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and it was clear, at least to me, that she was, because apparently there was an issue where she kept calling him a pervert, but she thought that he was running around or cheating before all this happened. And it felt like that was revenge to talk to, what's his name again? The cop.
Yeah.
It felt like it was a revenge.
Brian Higgins.
Revenge cheating, or she got the green light for that because he maybe did something, or at least she thought so, because she's always calling him a pervert. And so, yeah, it wasn't a happy, we've already talked about this before on social media. Everybody thinks everything's perfect. It ain't never. It's just not the case. Right. That's a red flag right there, just posting that you're perfectly happy all the time, actually.
My thing okay, there's video of her backing into the car. So let's say that broke the tail light, and then she backs into him later, and a broken tail light could make scratches on his arm. I'm down with that. But I feel like there would have been robust samples of DNA on the jagged edges of the tail light. That's why I wish I could watch the trial, because I know they cover all that kind of stuff.
Well, the tail light is really stumping a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a rounded surface and it hits clothes and not necessarily skin. Right. I don't know. Yeah, it don't hit skin. I don't know. Yeah. And the elements, the weather.
Researched on 25 miles per hour if that could have been possible to hit a person.
They're saying that her audio's low again.
Okay. I can turn her up a little bit.
And when I did my research, they did say that you can make that big impact to crack the taillight.
They're saying you can do that.
Can do that at 25. She was going 24.5 miles per hour.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute. I got to do some. I'm one of these people that do research all the time.
Well, if you think about this, if people, especially in the country, in the South, if you've ever hit this just happened to James. If you've ever hit a deer, you know that you can slow down a lot, like slam on brakes or whatever, and slow down. It happened to me before as well, and still damage your car.
Oh yeah,
like hell. He had a bumper. I think you said you got slowed down pretty good.
I did.
But his bumper was moved back 3 inches, the whole damn bumper.
Yeah.
So,
a big truck.
It's a big truck, exactly. So, 25 is more than you think, and it's just not common to go backwards 25, for sure.
You should do like a 3.4 turn.
Supposedly, supposedly.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's confirmed or not, because the way... At least I've seen the kind of the graphics about it. Is she just pulled in that way, and I'm doing this like I know nobody can tell. but like towards
No, that's my
towards the
husband.
flagpole, like against the road,
Yeah.
facing the flagpole. If everybody knows
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
the front of the house, yeah, is what my understanding. I could be wrong, but I think somebody mentioned a 3-point road turn. I don't know when that was, if that happened.
And he was knocked out of a shoe if he did get hit, and they said that's very common. And I had heard that before.
Yeah,
It is very common.
there's always a shoe, or a couple in the car wreck.
Yeah.
You know, and another reason why I don't believe in the frame is because it was a blizzard.
Yeah,
I mean, what are you going to do? You're gonna knock somebody out and put them on your front lawn. Well, when you murder somebody, you don't want them to see the dead body.
yeah.
But okay, just to play devil's advocate here.
Would you want a dead body in your
If-
lawn after you murder somebody?
If I'm the police chief,
dude, I'd be all over the place. Where's a loco? Where's a
I really think if I'm the police chief, I might be cocky enough to think I could get by with doing that. I'm
You know
saying,
what? You got a point there too.
Yeah, but that's like you
I
could
don't-
sure, but that's a big risk to take. And like I said before, why not just put him in the road where the snowplow comes through?
yeah,
I don't know.
it don't. Yeah, there's
No
so
body,
many-
no crime.
Right? Yeah, you're right.
okay. Jessica says the shoes.
Yeah,
one has a
that's what I
black
said
bottom
earlier, Jessica. Before you
Well, the
joined,
shoes are-
she's saying the shoe don't match.
and one has a white bottom.
Okay, one black bottom, one white, but same kind, like on the sides, but one black bottom, one white bottom. Is that because that? I don't know if that really. I don't know if it's the same shoe. We'll figure it
Same
out.
shoe I saw on the surveillance camera. But you're right. I know the shoe is something that is.
I mean, I don't wear matching socks half the time, so I don't know if that's
Me
a different
neither.
pair of shoes or maybe he's got is that a design? Because some shoes have you know what I mean.
Right, that's a fair question.
Yeah, I
these
don't-
are things that you hope they're covering in the trial.
Yeah, and those are the type of things, right, where, like, for just using this as an example, I don't mean it's not right or wrong, but Jessica's saying, the shoe's different. When you hear that, if you're just reading online or you're watching a video and you say, yeah, but the shoe was different, it wasn't, if you're not thinking beyond that surface level, you're automatically like, well, the shoe's different. That means they planted it. Instead of thinking, okay, these days there's a lot of design things they do about shoes, especially sneakers. I don't know what he was. I think it was a Nike type of shoe, right? If I saw it right. There's a lot of design things that goes on now, especially with different colors on both sides of the feet and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, just saying, it's just a fair. I think it's a fair question. To
And
ask.
Aaron is saying that they had the wrong shoes in court this week.
What?
Yeah,
How they
Dang
do?
it.
How they screw that up?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
Well, there's one thing about it is the evidence was poorly handled.
Yes.
oh,
I
absolutely,
think
no question.
everybody can agree with that.
And that's what
Yeah.
James and I 100%
Did a very
agree on
shoddy
with
job
all
at
these cases, because we're usually a little bit different on like conspiracy versus cover-ups and stuff. But the one thing we agree on is that these big cases like Stephen Avery making a murder, this case now several other ones, regardless of guilt or innocence, is there's some fuckery with the cops or there's some mishandling of the damn evidence. Period. And
But
that doesn't
we have
help
to
the
give them
case
this
at all.
one excuse is when it was during a blizzard.
Yeah.
Now, I live in the Midwest practically all my adult life. And I know in a blizzard, your visibility is
Yes.
not very good. Because sometimes you can't even see the front of your hand. But still, I mean, they're trained, right? Wouldn't you think they would?
Supposedly. Yeah.
But, the thing is, like, I also read somewhere where the FBI said there needs to be a training for everybody to handle evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was a thing in Stephen Avery's
yes,
case as
agreed.
well.
Yep.
Well, I've seen worse, too, believe it or not.
Now, again, as far as the cops go, if I did have to defend them, let's say you're a cop and you pull up to a scene like that and find out there's a cop laying there dead and the lady is running around. If she really is saying, did I hit him or I hit him?
Yeah.
You probably feel like it's pretty slam dunk. You don't need to be getting every blade of grass out of there to prove anything because this lady's running around saying that she
I agree.
possibly hit
Which
him.
is totally out of her mind. As a person, I really have compassion for her for that.
Same.
I mean,
Sure.
I really do. I mean, I feel bad for her. I mean, I don't feel hatred or anything, but I just, because you know what? The number one thing is she let alcohol destroy her life. And
I agree. I
So
said that
many
the first.
people.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, I just want to cry for her. It's like, you had a great job. You're a pretty lady. You have a beautiful home and you choose to be drunk.
100%. It's one of the first things we said when we watched the first couple episodes. It reminds the people in their own personal life.
Yes.
I don't understand.
And driving in the blizzard.
I don't get it. I don't get that lifestyle. I mean, I'm not, shitting on anybody who likes to go out and have a good time at a bar. Don't get me wrong, but that all the time and just living that life, you already have something wrong at your core if you're trying to cover it with alcohol and whatever.
Yeah, and
I don't get it.
That's the end of so many people's lives, is that bad decision to get behind a wheel.
Yep, exactly.
Or do anything under the influence.
Well, if anything, I hope she doesn't get all 3 charges. Maybe just one for the lesser.
Yeah, I think, but I do think Tony's right. Regardless of what actually happened, there is enough doubt for her to get off. I agree.
I don't think she should get all charges. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that either.
I mean, I
even
would
if she
never
did
want
it.
to
Yeah.
feel ill with anybody. I hope
Yeah.
everybody knows that. I really don't. I mean, I feel for this person.
Let's touch on this real quick, because we have covered how like she looks kind of bitchy or stuck up or whatever.
She's uppity, and we'll call him uppity in this.
The Jen McCabe, the Jen McCabe chick does herself no favors either.
No, she does not.
She comes off kind of crabby, and
Well, see, I don't see that in her.
you don't. And I've only seen little clips, so
Well,
maybe
maybe because I have a friend that kind of reminds me of her.
Yeah, that could do it.
that's
Well, I will
fine.
say,
I understand.
Yeah.
But
I will say, James, you mentioned that before, and I didn't see it at first. It kind of, I started seeing a little bit what you were talking about, but I also thought, okay, she's been asked. She's in this trial that seems to be where they're basically accusing her of killing her good friend, or at least taking a part in it.
helping cover.
So I
it
can
up.
see being a little crappy on the witness stand. Anyway, apparently it's a lot different this trial from what I'm hearing. Yeah.
she's been through a lot. I mean, it's like, oh God, now I got to go again.
Yeah.
And just like they
And
were talking,
I don't think I'd be too cheerful on the stand either.
did you see the documentary we're talking about on Max, the 5-parter? Because it shows some behind the scenes, her hanging out with her lawyers and stuff.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay,
Yeah, you need to watch
mentions
that for
Karen
sure.
Reed.
Where is that at? I would like to watch that.
It's on Max. It's
Yes.
called A Body in the Snow.
A body in the
Oh,
snow.
yes.
And
okay, I've seen
it-
little clips of it.
It shows her hanging out with her lawyers during the trial, and
Yeah.
they actually touch on the fact, and you can put this with her or Jen McCabe. If I smile too much, they think I don't care. If I do this or that, they think I'm a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah,
so there, I
When
can
she
see
speaks.
how, you don't know what to do.
But
Yeah.
when she speaks, she's friendlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems that way, right? Yeah, on camera anyway.
Like one-
But that's the
like I-
thing. That's what I question anyway. Now I get like if I'm fighting for my life or whatever, regardless of whether I secretly did it or not, you want public opinion on your side. So hey, I'll do this documentary.
Yeah.
But when you act like that, it's not helping you.
No, she's in the interviews, you guys. Really, she
Yeah.
should never done those interviews.
Oh.
Why did? Now here's a question for you. Why would an attorney that is so experienced would not stop her to go on interviews?
I don't get that either.
It's because I mean, I have watched so many trials and and attorneys, and they said the first thing they tell their clients is keep your mouth shut.
Right. Yep.
Why
I will
do
say she seems to
do
love the
that?
celebrity of this. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't like her. I don't like the fact that she has to have a fan club.
Right.
Yeah. I
Right.
don't get it. Yep. She's definitely loving the media and the fame and all this from this or whatever, for sure. Like I said, you want to get your side of the story out there with the documentary, so I can kind of get that, but she's doing this for more to me, in my opinion. It's just my opinion.
And Tony,
because there'll be a book out, there'll be
Yeah.
a movie, she'll get a deal. It's all coming.
Tony brought up the OJ case.
Yeah.
And, just like with this case, I felt the same way with OJ. It's like, I know you're fighting for your life, but at the core of this trial, somebody you loved is dead. And how you're not, like, it's not just showing on your face. Now, I know the trials do take place pretty far after the,
Right. Yeah.
but I don't know, man. If there's 12 people there judging every little move I make, the last thing I'm going to do is crack jokes. I think.
Right,
I've never
right.
been in this position, but that bothers me. And I would like to be on a jury someday, but I don't know if I'm the right guy. I'll probably never get picked.
Well, I was going to say, actually, I've been on one jury. Now, this is obviously not a big murder case, but it was like a small local breaking and entering thing. And even that small thing, now, in regards to this, it's a pretty small charge. It wasn't like a violent thing or anything like that. This one was emotional the whole time. And it's like, and I know people show emotion different. I get that, especially right after. So you can't just say, well, she didn't show remorse or remorse or emotion. Some people process that differently and in private. I get that. But yeah, she didn't do herself any favors I'm using the word diva to be nice, but being a diva on this damn documentary.
That's right.
I just don't think she did any favors, for sure. But anyway, good to have you, Hot Coffee. Thank you for subscribing.
Thank you so much.
We're not really sticking to the clock tonight, but that's okay. We got plenty of time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
Do it again, so stop by anytime.
Absolutely. We'll be here next week.
All right. We'll have some more information and.
All righty, and maybe we'll have some updates from this trial.
Awesome.
All righty.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Yes,
ma'am.
Good night.
You have a good one. All righty. There she goes. All right. Tony back in the chat there. So I know we missed some stuff there. Let me get my
Jessica
mouse
says,
back
listen
over
to the 911 call. She was panicking.
Okay. Let me go back up a little bit. I know we missed a lot there.
Yeah.
While Coffee was on. There's Lucis and Chris and that with my Tabi socks there. Tim, what kind of vehicle was it? Sounds like she hits him on the left side, smashes the glass, and goes down and skids on his right. If there was a bite, who's to say they didn't let the dog out to piss? They
right. Or
possible, yeah. And then the snow covers up the tracks. All that. The weather's a big issue here. Let's see. Noel was an SUX Lex. Yeah, it was a Lexus. Okay. Now, Aaron, when Jessica were talking about the shoes, so they were saying, and Jessica, your message disappeared there, and Nataz. So, yeah, so the bottom of the shoe you were saying was different color.
Yeah.
But was it the same shoe? In other words, if I have a pair of Air Jordans, they're both Air Jordan, both shoes I'm wearing are Air Jordan 11s, but one side may have a different color because it's a special edition or colorway or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But she also said one of them looked brand new. I did see that somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I'd have to see him, you know what I mean, to really. It's kind of like when we did the interview with Christine from Making a Murder or Convicting a Murderer. We never heard about shoes. No.
And jeans with that were washed that night, and you could see bleach stains or whatever on the jeans and shoes.
Never heard about it.
And then we got the pictures right there and put them in the podcast. It was like an exclusive thing.
I think so.
Like.
I think
so there's so much missing from these and so much information. Let's see. Yeah, Dark Side. This is the one. Yep, hung jury last time exactly. Jen says, welcome, Jen. They rehomed the dog that night after, well, it wasn't that night. This was several weeks later. It wasn't that night. Having her for 7 years, it was a dog bite. How did he have not one bruise or broken bone from whatever 1,000-pound vehicle hitting him? Well, again, it's very possible.
One of those things that make you question things.
That's part of the question, though, right? Is they did rehome the dog after he said another incident, I believe was his testimony anyway. And again, we're going by somebody's word. But we were talking with Tony earlier about, I mentioned the deer example. It doesn't mean that the vehicle killed him immediately. It means he fell and got an injury potentially or whatever or he got hit on that right side. He was already drunk. He could have passed out. Hypothermia was the killer. I think we all think that's what happened, right? The hypothermia, at least. I don't think nobody believes that he died in the house or on the street when he got hit, if he did. I think people agree it's the cold.
I was glad his friend brought up, because I was thinking that he said, from what I've read, dying that way is pretty peaceful.
Oh, and yeah, where you feel warm and just kind of go to sleep.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole time. If that's how he died, then if I'm his family, I would feel so much better about it.
Yeah, and Jessica, we did talk about the inverted video. That was odd, and then it shows the guy kind of back behind that side of the tail light.
Yeah, clearly was.
You don't.
After
but again, it's like he's there, no doubt about it. He had access to it, and that was the asshole cop, the trooper, who ran the thing, supposedly ran the investigation. But it doesn't prove that he took pieces. You couldn't see him doing anything, but it was inverted. I don't know why it would be inverted. There was a reason it was like that, but. It's like when you see a word police backwards on the other car, it's like, wouldn't they catch that? And what does inverting do? Like, what does it do to hide something? Does it? Because it doesn't hide anything. It just flips it.
Yeah, made it look like he was standing at the other light.
I guess. I guess. But when you have a big word there, it's like, if you're going to cover something up, like, come on, man. Let's see. Noelle, the dog is alive. Expert said she doesn't need him anymore. Need him anyways. I thought I heard they were going to get the impressions from that dog. I just saw that today during this new trial. I don't know if they have them yet or what. I guess we'll see. Proctor didn't look like he was doing anything but standing here. I didn't see any movement. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I didn't see any movement either. Jen, Proctor got fired for issues involving the case. There's so much evidence supporting her innocence. Yeah, he was a complete.
And he's being charged
dick.
With stuff
too. Absolutely, because he talked shit about her with his friends, with at least at the very least locker room talk. I don't know, but it kind of makes you think, right? He said horrible things, but when he's called her like what was it? How did he word it? Kind of a lunatic. What did she say? Lunatic, basically.
You said it earlier.
I said it earlier. I just had a brain fart, but he called her like a nut job or a lunatic. Yeah. Okay, well,
head case.
Think about that for a second. Now, on the surface level, yes, absolutely, you shouldn't be talking shit about somebody you're investigating, but maybe he has a reason to think that, right? That she's a lunatic. I'm just saying, think about that aspect of it. If you're like, you're going to have personal feelings, now you shouldn't vet them to your friends. But if he got that feeling from her during this investigation, I don't know.
And here's my thing. I don't care if you do think it's a slam dunk. If the defendant is saying he went in that house, why that guy didn't go in that house blows my mind. The investigator.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like,
said he never
you
went
can
in
find
there.
DNA in there, something. Exactly. You're definitely, like Tony said, you're definitely giving somebody the ability to, if they choose to, or if that's the case, you're given the ability to hide things if you don't cover it. Narcissist, Teflon was, that's where it's talking about the drinking. Yeah, when you're rich and boyfriend is caught, why wouldn't she? Well, I was just saying, Tony, in general, and for personal experience, not me, but people we know, why that lifestyle, if you're drinking every night or whatever, there's something going on where you're filling that hole with at the bottom of the bottle, you know what I mean? So, let's see. Jen says she is. I know her. I knew her years ago from the bar. I was a bartender. Okay. Okay. You're talking about Karen. Maybe I missed something from earlier. Yeah, come back and let us know what you meant there.
Yeah. Did you know her personally?
Let's see. Yeah, Turtle Boy, Jessica. We talked about him earlier. We didn't see Turtle Boy stuff because I know, like we were watching this other guy. What's his name? Something Dots. I keep forgetting.
Oh, Microdots.
Yeah, Microdots. They're clearly Turtle Boy. You know, I can't. I don't know him. Obviously, he's obviously a pretty big YouTuber and got big from this and started the whole pro, free Karen thing. So I don't trust that right up front because he's got an MO there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you don't know about it for sure, and I'll watch some stuff, but just saying you got to be careful with that.
No way that dude's name is Sergeant Bukaki.
Yeah. Bukaki. Oh, speaking of Bukaki, for some reason I just thought about Mazuma. I saw Mazuma earlier. What's up, Zuma? He said he was here.
What's
it was
happening?
just late.
I didn't see him. In
I don't know why I thought about Bukaki because he said it so many times. That's why. Gregor, Jessica, also Mark Bettero. Which one is Mark? I don't remember.
I don't think I have his name.
Yeah, I don't remember that name either.
See, these people who watch this trial know so much more.
Nata, I did see your documentary recommendations. We talked about this before. Nata, she said goodnight too. She told me and James to watch that. I watched the trailer for that, Nata. We want to watch that, the one about the missing kids.
Yes, we did watch the trailer for that.
Yeah, we looked into that. She don't
forgot
think
all
we listened
about
to
it.
her.
Yeah,
I told her this before already. I think on Twitch or something. We definitely looked at that.
Why that wasn't a bigger deal?
I know,
because that's what we were saying after we watched the.
Exactly.
How could we never heard of this?
Exactly. Jessica, they call it mid-trial, the first one. It made him look like he was on the other side of the car. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. We're behind a little bit here in the chat. Obviously, you're talking about the inverted video. Yeah, did call her a cunt. Yeah, I know that, Gregor. But basically not just that, but she's crazy, nut job. I think it was. Let's see. Teflon, there he is. They will provide evidence of the dog's mouth. The defense will challenge if that's the right dog. No proof either way. Yeah, but if it matches the bite thing, the size, and they'll go by all that stuff as well. We'll see what happens with that.
Jen said Jen McCabe she was talking about.
Oh, Jen McCabe.
Right below you.
Yeah, that she was...
The chick that searched How Long to Die in the Snow. She's the bartender.
Oh, you knew her.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And then down at the bottom, yes, her, Brian, what'd she say? Yeah, Brian, Albert, and Proctor. I served them for years.
Oh, okay.
I'll be damned.
Okay, so let me see. Jim McCain, what I was talking about. Gregor, top accident reconstruct. Oh, shit, I keep losing it. Top accident reconstructionist in the country says his injuries weren't from a car accident. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really an accident. Oh, I guess, I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, you don't know. I mean, and that's not consistent with a standard, but I don't, what does that mean? Like we just talked about with coffee, like one side of the body, it's kind of weird. Let's see. But there's also, we were talking about this earlier, there's two experts that says that the tech experts were saying, the search was from leaving a tab open because that version of iOS, and then they have the other experts saying, no, it is the thing.
And Chris said, do you think they lie? And I'm like, yeah, I do. But you need to go into the why and all that. And,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
nobody knows really.
Right. So you got to have two experts that are experts supposedly or whatever, again, in Apple technology and iPhones and all that stuff saying, yeah, it's the timestamp of the tab being open when she was searching for her sports stuff, and as opposed to when she actually did the search in the same browser. So they're not cop people necessarily. So why them? You start having those questions, like why would they get in on it and lie on stand? Let's see. Noel, most experts do not agree with the defense's expert. Most say it's not. The defense expert came out of the woodwork and will not look good for the stand. Teeth, bites backwards, and so forth. Oh, okay. You're talking about the dog stuff, I guess. Served, Brian. So, Jen, so what's your take on it? If you kind of know some of these people that they're on the defense here now. Let's see here. What's up, CT? There it is.
CT
unmuted. Lucis Sergeant Bukaki. Jeez, see, he said Mazuma too. I told you, when you hear the word Bukaki,
yes,
you think about Mazuma for some reason. That probably sounds weird to say, but we do.
That was probably loud.
All right, there we go. I think we're caught up here with the chat finally. The FBI aren't testifying he was beaten up. Yeah, that's what we're just saying about that with Coffee on. Like, if with the injuries that we know of, like if you've ever been in a fight, you don't get beat up on one side. That's just the way it is. So yeah, it's odd.
If you're fighting a one-armed man, you might.
That's true. I guess so. I mean, I guess you could be like in your side stance, you don't want to get hit over here. But if you're southpaw.
What's his name? Harrison Ford. One-armed man.
Oh my God. Tim Black. Yeah, that is fair, Tim. You can find experts to see things in every which way, particularly expert witnesses. That's true. And again, I didn't go deep enough to look into the experts and how long they've been doing it, and look it up myself and try to verify. You just kind of got to. There's so many back and forth things.
Now,
but
see if Jessica's right about this. Both his eyes were black and his knuckles were bruised. I never heard that either. Now, Jessica, where did you hear that from? Because like Coffee had the notes here with the injuries, and that just out of curiosity. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just have not heard about black eyes. I think that would have been a pretty prominent thing on the documentary, right? If his eyes were blackened, because that would have been a clear indication of fight, especially if his knuckles too. If Karen's telling the truth, there was a piece of glass sticking out of his face that fell off.
She said she pulled that out, right? Yeah. Let's see. Aaron, they were seen for a total of 6 minutes. It was a storm and windy as hell. They wouldn't have heard anything. Let's see.
Lucis.
Harrison James.
Introducing the one-armed man theory.
I know. We got a new theory that's going to go around. Just Google what happens in search if on the Safari browser. Open the tab. What the timestamp would be. Let me read that again. Just Google what happens if search in Safari browser. Open the tab. What the timestamp would be. So you're saying the timestamp will be when you open the browser. Now the other guy said it was incorrect because it was a different version of iOS. So maybe a newer version doesn't do that. It actually records the time of search. But are you saying, I think that's what you're saying, you just Googled it and it's going to timestamp the time that it was opened, the browser, and the tab?
My thing with that is, obviously I am not a tech person, but like right now, I have 169 tabs open in Safari.
That's insane.
And it's like
fucking
they
hell.
would never catch me. I might use one of my Google tabs from 2 months ago.
That's right. Well, yeah, I haven't looked into, like I said, the experts, again, battle of experts. 2 experts said it was because of the tab time.
Yeah.
One expert said that they were wrong because it was a different version of iOS. I have not looked into that, but I will admit, when I watched the documentary, that's what I went into. I said they have to answer why this lady at 2:00 in the morning Googled inside the house how long to die in snow or cold. I keep saying snow, but when 2 people said that, I was like, oh well, shit, yeah, no, I can see that because I actually do that. I'll leave a couple tabs up, not like James with like 3,000. But I have a couple tabs open in case I want to look for something and don't want to favorite it and whatever. Mm-hmm. I do that. And so I use the same tabs for sure. Okay, some people are saying, okay, not black, but swollen and bruised. So both eyes, Talk Saw said both eyes were black. So see, there's conflicting information in the chat alone, let alone that's what I mean.
And this explains really why it was a hung jury.
Yes, exactly. So
and you look outside the courthouse, all the blue shirts and the pink shirts. This is another one of those cases.
It is, and you got to be careful about the confirmation bias. You really do. We're all victims of it. We all do it to some degree. But as long as you're aware of that, we will always look for what we tend to believe and look for stuff to support that and ignore other things. You've got to be careful about it. Like, we can't even agree that his eyes were black or just swollen. That's a little different. You know what I mean? I mean, not a huge difference, but it is in the sense of what could have happened to him. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, it's anybody going to join us and talk to it? Everybody scared? Everybody scared to talk to us tonight?
Close to the witching hour.
I thought for sure, because, yeah, James got to get out of here. I thought for sure with this topic, we would have people jumping in line to talk about this for true crime lovers here. So yeah, just a reminder: join the show before we get out of here. Click the link up there, or use the little QR code. Join us on. You don't have to be on camera. You can just use audio. Totally fine. And
after this thing posts, put stuff in the comments there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jessica, you could write a long one with a lot of your little bullet points there. I'd like to see them all together.
Aaron says, I believe they were referred to as raccoon eyes. Raccoon eyes come with head trauma. Okay, head trauma. Yeah, no, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. But that's what I'm saying. The difference between a black eye from getting punched in the eyes and a raccoon eye from trauma. I get that. Okay. And it just comes from a background of being hit and fighting other people. So
did that thing ding?
It did ding. I think we have a guest.
It happened right when I picked my cup up, and I thought I hit something.
You got a notification that you're thirsty. All right, let's see who we got here to join us. This is Nata.
What is happening?
Hello, Nata. I thought she went to bed.
This person?
Hey.
I just came in to be open for the teasing. Who is Karen Reed?
Bull crap.
Oh my God.
You
really?
know I'm gullible.
She knows who Karen Reed is.
I don't.
Okay, so I didn't know.
Wow.
Look, to be fair, I didn't know till like 2 weeks ago, whatever
2
it was.
weeks ago.
The second trial is going on right now, but this is a woman who may or may not have backed into her boyfriend on a snowy night in Boston.
Is she a cop or is the boyfriend?
No, the boyfriend was
He's
the
the
cop.
cop.
Yep. And the whole house of people were cops, and one was an ATF agent. And so it's they were all drunk and partying at bars. They went over to their place, and she gets hit, or he gets hit, maybe, or gets beat up and killed and thrown out in the yard. One or the other happened.
And mauled by a dog.
And potentially mauled by a dog. We'll see. We'll see if we ever find out. But anyway, first trial hung jury. They could not come to consensus, and then this one's going on right now.
Yes.
Oh.
So what's fascinating though is just it seems very simple when you hear about it. Okay, there's a guy laying in the yard. Did he get hit by a car? Did he not? But then when you hear all the stuff, it's just like there's so many little things that don't make sense on both sides.
Okay. All right. Something to look forward to watching.
Yeah, and
I didn't put that on
there's
the
a
clock
documentary
either. I'm
on
sorry.
Max called "A Body in the Snow."
Yes,
you should watch that. That's what we watched to begin with, and it'll take you through the whole first trial.
Okay.
Yeah. And we did. I told you on Twitch. I think it was Twitch. I told you. We looked at that trailer.
Yes.
What's the name again?
The trailer is not watching.
No, it's on our list though.
No, yeah.
You don't understand.
Out,
we have a list. We checked it out. We have a list of things.
And I was shocked that I'd never heard of that. For that to be
and the documentary, it's called the 43.
Yes.
Yes, correct. So yes, we want to look into the 43 because
we were definitely intrigued by that.
We were both saying the same thing. Like, wait a minute, why have we not seen this?
So I remember it happening like while it was happening. This was like at least 10 years ago, I want to say. It was big news, like at least in the Spanish speaking channels, like in Mexico. And
yeah, I'm sure.
And it was very sad because like after a couple of months, like it just fell off the face of the earth. And like if you guys didn't hear it, then
nobody else did.
Yeah, like I don't know what the conclusion was. And
but I think I asked you on Twitch though. We were talking about it. Because I saw the protest in Mexico City and in New York. So they disappeared here or in Mexico?
No, in Mexico. This all happened in Mexico.
Oh, okay, so everything. So why were they protesting in New York then? What was that? Just a awareness
I
thing?
think it was just to show solidarity, just because
Okay.
how involved the government was, and they were claiming that it wasn't government involved. Like it's a whole crazy, like it involved with like the governor of that village, of that town, and then they were trying to like blame like cartel people. It's like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I say too much, it'll like unravel, but as it was happening, like nobody had a single clue how these kids, and when I say kids, I mean like they're college kids, like they're
Yeah.
young.
Right. But it was 43 people.
And this was like out of over 120 students, because like it's like a yearly ritual that they all like take hostage like coach buses from like these little small towns, and they all make the pilgrimage to Mexico City to do the protest. There's like some special date in October, so like it's an unspoken understanding that these kids are allowed to like take over these coach buses, drive to Mexico City, walk their protest, and then come back home.
Yeah.
Like it was known, and then shit just went like crazy that one night. So I should probably follow up what happened, but it was interesting to see like what was happening at the same time. Like
and to this day, these 43 people are still missing.
No, they're dead.
They've confirmed it. Oh, okay.
We've got to watch that.
Yeah, we got to check that out for sure. I just reminded myself again on my handy dandy classic notepad. All right, we'll watch that, Nata. I told you we did check it out though. It's interesting. It sounds interesting now that you say that too. So I'm curious now to find out what the hell happened. So we know what happened. Don't spoil it, but we know what happened.
Yeah, I mean 43. There's just too many to be like they're missing. You know what I mean?
Well, sure, of course, yeah, clearly. I just didn't know if they confirmed what happened. That's what I should have said. Too. Confirmed. Yeah.
Well, that's still up for debate because the government, again, like it's still very messy. The government is saying, "Oh no, these are the bodies," and then international like
Interpol
people from other countries volunteer to like run labs and tests and DNA testing, and no, this is not their bodies. Whatever. So it was like a lot of contradiction. So it's still like who do you believe?
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All
right. We'll definitely watch that for sure. And you go watch A Body in the Snow and you'll know who Karen Reed is and get caught up on this one. Yes. It's only 40 minutes apiece. There's 5 episodes. That's
right.
But that's just a documentary. If you want to watch a trial, feel free. It's on right now.
Will do. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, Nata. Thank you for joining finally.
We got to.
Oh, okay. She just took off and just left us there. She didn't even finish her clock. Okay. I'll let that run down. All right, we got somebody else here as well.
Andes again.
Jessica saw that 401 disappearances. No,
we've never talked about that.
Never talked about it.
That is a big one.
CT got his question answered. Okay, so Monica got caught up on what's going on. Thank you, Monica. By the way, Monica, you said something about trying to. I think you just meant book support. I know you did for me for sure. We were talking about other YouTubers though, not you, Monica. Who else we got here? We have nobody. Nope. Nope.
Timbo.
There was a Timbo.
Yeah. Did they drop off?
No, we still got Timbo.
Sweet
Wait a minute.
Daddy.
Here we go. Timbo, you are live. Welcome to the SmokeScreen podcast.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
Oh, pretty good. I just heard you guys talking some Karen Reed, and I will tell you that I'm pretty invested.
Okay.
Yeah. Inside this, I'll tell you what. I don't really normally watch stuff like this. My wife is all into court cases and all that good stuff. I'm just like, normally when she watches, I'm just like, meh. But then she started like telling me about what's going on with this case, and I'm talking about the first trial, right?
Yeah, right.
So she starts telling me about just obviously John O'Keefe, Karen Reed supposedly hits him, but then we start listening to basically he's a cop. He dies in a cop's yard, and I just knew when she started telling me this, and then she told me how the response of a cop dead. First of all, if you guys have ever seen anything happen to a cop, they shut down everything. It's like literally the whole road. Anything that happens to a cop, it's like everybody in arms. Everybody's there. It doesn't matter if it's snow, rain, sleet, tornado, whatever, right? So the response of a dead cop in someone's yard, not just someone, in another cop's yard,
right?
And the response is
weak.
like, yeah, it's crazy. And then see, this is the problem with this case. You just start going all over the place because there's so many things that I knew you guys. It sounds like you guys watched the documentary and you've been keeping up a little bit with the case, right?
Just a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch the documentary, little
It's-
parts of the case, and then some videos, a couple of videos on some different perspectives. Yeah.
It's so hard to talk about this case because, dude, I'm telling you, you guys are in the entry level part of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
I believe it.
And what I mean by this is the gentleman whose house it was is a retired cop who was a first responder. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he didn't even go out.
Didn't even go out. But look, this is the crazy part. That morning when Karen Reed, she had two other ladies with her, which is one of them was Jen McCabe, which is the owner's sister-in-law. Her sister is married to Brian Albert. Okay.
Right.
The crazy part is Jennifer McCabe knows she sees her friend. John and her are friends.
That's right.
They've been friends for a long time.
Right.
She sees him on the ground and she calls 911. First of all, she says, "There's a man on the ground."
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That's so weird. And I would give the scenario of this if anybody has a friend, a loved one, if you are with that person and something is happening to them, it's unfathomable to me. Like if my father or my brother or my friend, I would say, "Hey, my friend's hurt. I need you to send someone." And then specifically, if you guys know that if you had a friend who's a cop and he got hurt, you would mention, "Hey, my friend who is a cop is hurt." Okay.
I was washing dishes today and heard that 911 call, and that's what I thought. She never mentioned he was a cop and she knew him and all this stuff.
Yeah. She literally says a man is down and a man needs help, which is, okay, let's just say maybe she's in shock, benefit of the doubt, right?
Sure.
But then the cops tell her, "Hey, we're on our way." They tell them to start giving CPR compressions, which Jen McCabe, Karen, and Carrie Roberts, which is the other lady, none of them have any experience in this. But guess who does have experience?
The cop in the house.
Thank you. So if your friend that you love so much is hurt out there, the first thing you would do is run in the house. And then not only that, would you not be concerned that your sister is hurt? Would you not be concerned that
that's a good point?
Sure. Absolutely.
The man in the house is hurt. If you see somebody dead on the line,
that's
would you not
freaking
run in
good
the
point.
house? So it just
I never thought of that.
it doesn't add up. Like all those things, and then the man in the house never comes outside, which is super weird because he's a cop and he was an investigator and he was a first responder. That would all make you think that he would be wanting to figure out what happened.
Let me just play devil's advocate a second, Tim, and maybe you can correct me. I think from what I remember is that when he was asked that on the stand, and now again, I don't agree with it. I'm saying at least walk outside and see what's going on. But when he was asked this on the stand, this had already the cops were already there by the time he found out, is what I understand.
So
right?
This is
am I missing that?
Well, so this is what happens. So basically, all this happens, and this is where the benefit, where you can give them the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, they were all drinking that night, right? So, and when I say drinking, it sounds like they were hard drinking, right? And I think in that area, I'm not in an area where it snows like that, but typically I heard that if you're in Boston and it's a blizzard like that, you basically get hammered, right? Like you basically are preparing that you're not going to be going anywhere, that you're hunkering down and hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say they're hard sleepers, which I think is the case because it was early in the morning. They had been drinking, and it sounds like nobody in the neighborhood heard the cops coming because the cops didn't have the sirens on because nobody's on the roads, right?
Right.
So it's just lights and flashing. But this is the thing. So after the cops come, or sorry, after the first responders come, the ambulance comes, then the cops come, then Jen McCabe, which is the lady's who's
Right.
she's the sister-in-law, she runs in the house. She wakes them up. She runs upstairs to their room and wakes them up and says, John is dead outside, basically. And they still never go outside.
Yeah. I will say on the sleeping thing, from as a personal heavy sleeper, I slept through a hurricane here and completely through it. Hurricane Hugo in 1989. I slept through it completely. Till my mom woke me up very early that morning to go check on the roof while it was still going on, but I never even knew it was happening. So to be fair, that can happen. Yeah.
No, the waking up part is not the concern.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say this. So if you guys, I knew you watched the documentary too, but a big thing in this case is their dog.
Yeah.
So they had a German Shepherd.
Right.
And so the other thing is, look, I have a dog, and I have a Cavapoo, which is it's a designer dog. It's a small dog, right?
Yeah.
And anytime that something like a loud noise goes outside of my house here, my dog, even if I'm in the bed, right? If there's a loud noise, I'm in the bed, dude. He'll just do this like because he hears something outside. And so my only thing, and I think that's all dogs. I think it's small dogs, big dogs, medium-sized dogs. They typically are very aware of what's going on outside, even with like if it's a snowstorm, a blizzard, like they can hear things. My dog, dude, he literally could hear in my old house, across the street was a field, right? A big field. And there used to be deer that would run in this field. Dude, my dog would go to the window at pitch black at night and start barking. And I'm like, what the hell is somebody outside? Like, what's going on? Dude, I could see the deer's eyes. I'm talking like 40, 50 feet away. I could see their eyes running like across the street. So my point here is yes, I get right. You're a heavy sleeper. That's very possible. And, even the ambulance, like the cops didn't have sirens. So I get you wouldn't wake up, right? But I would almost guarantee that your dog hearing all these people talking, because Karen, if you hear the 911 calls, you can literally hear her through the phone yelling.
Yeah.
You can hear, obviously, the ambulance. If you've ever heard a vehicle like that, it's very loud just in general, right?
Yeah.
So my point is, I think that the dog would have probably been up realizing that something is going on. And then the front door is unlocked. Jen McCabe busts in the house. She never has any recollection of where the dog is. No cops ever said they seen the dog. Even the friends who were at the house that night, they were like, yeah, I never seen the dog. There's a friend who always goes to their house. She says, every time I go over there, I've never seen that dog. And the whole point of this is that dog has been known to not be friendly to strangers.
Right.
And so when you look at John O'Keefe's injuries, and this is the other thing, my whole thing here is he doesn't have any injuries that shows he was hit by a car. If you've ever heard anybody who's been hit by a car, I heard people like just pulling like in a parking space and they back out and hit someone, that they get bruised.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking, it's just like a quick, basically I back out, hit you, and they're saying like their whole leg was bruised. So you're telling me that a gentleman who was killed by a car, but their theory has changed on how he died now.
Well,
It's
yeah,
different
that's what I
from
was
the
gonna say.
first
I don't think anybody believes the car. Some may. I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think people believe the car actually killed him. I think the coal did. I think that's the consensus, right? I would imagine.
Well. So what's funny is I wish you guys see the problem with this trial too. The first trial, it's a long trial,
right?
But look, this is what their reconstruction has said the first time. And are you guys watching the trial now?
No, but I'm not watching it currently. We've seen clips. I've seen a lot of pieces, but not the whole thing.
It's so crazy because the things we're talking about, when you see, the problem is when you have investigators who get up on the stand and say these things like it's like mind-boggling, because you think that when when you hear cops and you see like CSI and investigation, those people are very thorough, right? Like you're
Yes.
always thinking that like they know their stuff, but then when you hear these people and how they do these things, and perfect example, their reconstructionist, the first trial, I think his name was Trooper Paul. Dude, he basically got up there and they were trying to match up to how she hit him, right? And Alan Jackson, which is her attorney, he was up there asking him, like, tell us your theory. You saying that basically he has no injuries on his body. Give me how he got hit. And he says, well, she backs up going, I think it was 24 miles an hour, and she hits his arm, and he slings like this. Because if you look at where his body is, it's inside
like
of
a
the yard,
spin,
not on
yeah.
the curb.
Yeah.
Right.
He basically, this is his words.
Excuse me.
He basically says that he pirouetted
Yep.
and flew
I
back.
saw that part.
Yeah.
and somehow died.
I'm
Now
telling
though,
you.
this time they're changing.
And he said
the
he might have
theory.
hit his head on the curb, and
There you go. Yeah. Now they're saying that basically she didn't really hit him. She clipped him. He fell and tripped and hit his head. And that's why in this case you hear them saying a lot of like the ground is frozen, because they're trying to correlate that, oh, he hit his head and that's why he has a big gash on his head, like on the back of it. But it I think it's all crazy, because to me, like I said, you got to think about the circumstances. So she's super drunk. That's aimed to hit a dude backed up going like drunk. What are we talking about here?
a dude who you hope is trying to jump out of the way.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is I'll tell you guys my theory real quick, because like I said, I'm very involved in this case. So when I hear stuff and
I think we might be all. Are we all online? I'm sorry to interrupt you,
no, you're good.
Timbo.
You're good.
I think did we lose connection? Okay, wait. I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tim. We got a little notification there that the stream
No, I'm sorry.
reconnected. Okay,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good.
I'm
You're
kind
good.
of ranting here.
No, you're good.
No. I
I'm
love
kind of
listening
ranting
to it.
here, and you guys are kind of getting the rant. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
man.
you're fine. No, you're making up all valid questions, but no, I don't think. It's like I keep saying, there's no true way to get hit and know how somebody gets hit by a car, because it's such an awkward, weird thing. It could be different every single time. I think the guy was saying, yes, it's possible that he got clipped and pirouetted and all that stuff. So you can't go by that. So he's not. It's just, if they ask him on the stand, well, what do you think is possible? He can name a million things, right? So,
But
can't
he's
go too-
there to do that, though. There is
Sure,
a
yeah,
science
but I
behind
mean
it.
that's what I mean. But there's no camera. It's just guesswork. That's all.
But the thing is, and this is what I would say to that is, we know that cars, the energy behind her vehicle, a car that size and that massive, your body energy, it doesn't, like, if something that big hits your arm doesn't fly your body. Like it doesn't. That's not the way. That's not how it works. That force would have torn John's arm off. That when you look at the size of her vehicle, the speed of the vehicle, like he's basically fantasy playing to fit his narrative. And yeah, if we do that, then we could say that technically anything could happen, right? Like we could say that aliens can come here right now if we like do that theory. But
well, yeah, it's just the car thing is not one of those things where if somebody gets stabbed, it's pretty definitive what happened, whether it's just a matter of who, right? Because you got puncture wounds. You have, this is one of those things where there's so many variables, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that, to me, their theory of him getting clipped, to me, if I was her team and they said that basically she didn't hit him, they're saying that she clipped him, which to me, like when you look at his body injuries, there's no proof of that. So their whole, the whole thing is you got to show proof without a doubt. But I would say, well, okay, he was drunk. How do we know he didn't slip and hit his head if that's the case? Yeah. How do we not know that because there are some corroborating theories that if you look at some of the people, there was a few people who got there at the same time as them. And they saw Karen Reed. They didn't see a passenger in her car.
Yeah, we were
So-
talking about that earlier. Yeah.
Yep. And so my theory, like I'm saying that, how do we not know that he got out? Karen left, because if you look at too, Karen's time is actually accounted for. Not when you look at John O'Keefe's house, they have the timestamp of when she got to his house on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi.
See, this is So the time that they say that she hit him does not line up with how quick that she could have gotten to John O'Keefe's house.
Yeah.
It's like a weird time frame of they moved the needle on when he got hit too. Like, this is the other thing. They keep changing their theory because
Yeah, she
there's
would have had to
different
got
things
there
that
in
don't-
like 3 minutes. It takes 6 minutes on average, considering
Right,
weather.
right.
She would have had to got there in less time or something like that, right?
I just heard them.
And by the way,
moving
we're
the
I'm sorry,
goalposts
Tim.
today.
We're getting something's going on. We're getting notifications. Are y'all still here? It's going in and out for some people. Hopefully, everybody can still hear us. Audio in and out. I know we're getting messages here that our frames are dropping here. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
It's all good.
Like, you've been frozen the whole time.
Yeah,
Your audio's working
yeah,
great.
Your audio's great.
Okay.
But you're
Interesting.
you've been frozen the entire time. But I don't know.
Hey, I have a beautiful
something-
face, so
Yeah.
you guys.
Well, we can see your beautiful smile. We can see your beautiful
It's a good
smile.
thumbnail.
Good.
Just letting you know, but yeah, I mean, thanks Tim, by the way, for joining us. We really appreciate it. But yeah, though it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of variables, and that's what's so crazy about it, because there's lots of things that don't match up time wise, or do they? What
Or
information,
injury wise, all the stuff.
because there's no real consistent thing about car injuries, depending on how, again, because you can be hit so many different angles and ways and speeds and blah blah blah.
Right.
But it is odd that there's one side of his body that's more injured than the other, and I don't know. But yeah, you're right. He could have walked over there, knocked on the door, and then walked back out and slipped and hit his head, and she pulled off. I mean, you just don't know.
Right.
Now, I will say, I think Noelle said something about earlier, I saw in the chat, she never said that he went in. She did say he went in. Now, her story changed. Her story did change. Now, but on this documentary, the first thing she says,
she saw John
go in the exactly. So that did change, right? So she's changed a little bit too.
Right. She did, and I will say this, that I think that she needed, and I want, I think things need to be consistent, but this is the only time that we have heard, and I don't know if it technically changed, because she hasn't really ever testified. This is her testimony, so it really didn't change, right? She did say that things were a little bit blurry. She never did say.
Right.
She never technically did say that I don't know what happened, but she said things were a little blurry. But then she gets on the documentary and says, "No, I did see him go in." I'll tell you guys. I'll leave you guys with this. This is what my theory is of what happened, because I've thought about this long and hard, and I'll give you my theory. And I don't know if you might not know some of these people, but I'll try to keep it brief. But I think that what happened was. And you could see, I think it kind of started at the bar. And plus, I think it actually started before that, because Brian Higgins, which is who Karen was talking to, it's basically like they had a little, they weren't really even talking. They were just kind of, testing out the waters, blah, 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 right? But then at the bar that night, and remember too, Karen told, or John had some inclination that they were talking, because he asked her about it, and they had a whole conversation about it, if you guys don't know this. But then, so that night at the bar, Higgins, you can see there's film out there where he's saying something to John, and then like his family members kind of grab him, and it looked like something was about to happen, right? So then they leave the bar, they go to Albert, she drops John off, and this is what I think happened. So in their house, when you walk in, there's straight a basement, right? Like it's basically a turn. It goes left, and then it goes down to the basement. And all the women, I think they said they were in the kitchen area.
Yeah,
I think they were all
hanging around
together.
the kitchen area. The I guess the island.
And the dudes were downstairs in the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my theory is that John goes in the house, and this is how you can get where nobody says they saw them, or there's no collaboration of multiple people saying, why they saw him or whatever. So I think he walked straight downstairs, and then I think him and Brian Higgins, and I'm not saying, this is what I don't think that it was like Brian Higgins didn't plan this, right? Where he's like, I'm gonna whoop John's ass,
right?
Blah blah blah. But what if you saw Brian Higgins too at the bar? He was roughhousing already with people. Like he was already kind of amped up.
Yeah.
Yep. He was already kind of like he was doing this and like had somebody basically in a headlock or whatever. So my thing is they're already super drunk, and I think that either maybe John did say something to him, and then Higgins came back and said, "Hey, that's why I'm talking to your girl," or whatever, right? And that could have happened, or they could have just been roughhousing. And then what happens is he falls and slips, hits his head, and then the German Shepherd. That's where. Remember, nobody there at the house said they saw the dog. Where's the most likely place that they probably would have the dog? Probably downstairs in the basement, away from everybody.
Yeah, if it's
well, that's what I was going to say earlier. If they had issues in the past, people say, well, they never saw a dog. They'd have him probably locked up somewhere before somebody comes in. Yeah, of course.
But then what I think is when they start roughhousing, head is down, I think the dog is down there somewhere, and the dog basically gets out. And because the dog, the scratches on John's arm does look like something scratched him.
If I had to attribute it to anything, that seems to be
most likely. Like it's like literally, if you've ever got scratched by a dog, it looks exactly how those marks are. So
if we didn't know anything about this case and somebody showed that injury and said a dog did it, everybody would believe
and
it.
I have a 110-pound German Shepherd who's accidentally scratched me, so yes.
Okay, so then you probably look at those scratches and like.
Well, that's what we watched the documentary, I was like, I could. It kind of take a look at it. It doesn't. You don't think car. I'll tell you that.
Right.
You don't think car.
Yeah.
We said unless you got drugged by it.
Well,
that's what we were saying.
We've also seen and experienced road rash, so that doesn't look like road rash either, right?
Right. And then the other thing too is where his body was from the concrete. There would have been tire marks in the grass.
I keep thinking that as well.
Well, no,
unless
I understand what you're
away.
saying, but I've been saying I think that he's out of it, halfway drunk, whatever, and crawled away and then passed out, and the cold got him. So that you don't have to have tire marks necessarily.
But, no, you don't have
to be fair.
It's
to be
a
fair.
thought process.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But if you listen to the only thing I'll say to that, I think the ME or it was either the ME or one of the experts, the doctors, they said that the wound from his head would have likely incapacitated him. He wouldn't been able to, basically that stopped all his motor functions. So in the theory of that, if she hit him the way they said he hit his head, then technically he would have fell where he landed. Because that's why when you look at his phone usage, supposedly there's no more phone usage after a certain time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because I think if he was able to crawl or something, not necessarily saying he could have pulled out his phone, but I think if he had any type of cognitive function or whatever, he probably would have been able to, pull out his phone and be like, help or somebody, right? So I just think that where his body was and where her car was, I think you would have saw something, because if he hit his head when she hit him, if he crawled, like let's just pretend like he did crawl, there would have been blood across, because technically that gash is still there from him hitting his head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then if he crawled somewhere, or if he moved somewhere, that the way that gash was, it was probably a lot of blood. So you would have found a trail of blood of John going somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
you would think so for sure.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen the wound itself or whatever. But head. If you ever get poked in the head or got cut in the head, it bleeds.
Oh yeah, it's not a quick stop.
Even a small little thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
that's the thing though, and it's just a lot of. We're all even the experts are, because there's no such thing as you can, unless you see it happen as far as a car, we're all guessing. It's all what ifs, but that's what makes it interesting, at least to talk about.
And I want to throw this out there too. Let's say that is your house, and you have been drinking. You're the chief of police, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's say, just for argument's sake, something did happen to John in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got a whole house full of drunk people
Yeah.
who have really important jobs. There's teenagers there.
Yep.
And it's just a bad look.
Yep.
I could see, and I'm not saying, I just can't see somebody going, oh, okay, guys, there was just a fight here. My dog got involved. Let's call the authorities and let's just all confess right now to everything. I could see them putting on the brakes and going, what the fuck are we going to do? I could see that. Now, I don't know how it would play out after that.
Right.
But I don't see them immediately trying to get him help. I could see them panicking.
Yeah. And specifically, too, if that dog got on him, that's when you really probably would freak the fuck out. Oh, sorry, pardon my language. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did too.
You're fine.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hey, look, we're demonetized. Live streams are automatically demonetized on this channel anyway. Don't worry about it.
My bad. Yeah, that's when you would freak out. Like, just imagine your buddy at your house. You guys are roughhousing. He falls, hits his head, and then your little dog runs over and starts scratching the shit out of him, and you can clearly see the scratches. You're gonna be like, "Oh shit! What am I supposed to do here?"
Yeah, what do I do? And you want to kind of huddle up with your buddies, and you know, probably put on a pot of coffee.
Well, the other thing too that you make a great point, and the other thing I would say too is they're cops, so they know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing, that if anybody could get out of this or think that they could come up, remember,
we were
Brian
talking
Higgins
about that
is
watching
FBI.
it. Yeah,
Brian Higgins is the FBI or whatever he is.
ATF.
You got a retired police officer. Who else is there? Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and then wasn't Jim McKay's husband? Wasn't he there too? He's a police officer.
Yeah.
So you essentially have, and then Brian Albert, he's testified in, I think, hundreds of cases. I think they said.
And while you're trying to collect yourself, somebody pulls up to pick the kids up. So you're like, hold on, go out there, tell him you changed your mind. We gotta, get our stories together. And again, it's all speculation, like we've said from jump. Yeah. But I try to put, and that's what Chris and I do with everything we ever talk about. We try to put ourselves into the psychology of it all.
Yeah.
And so, people may think it's dumb that we even speculate this stuff, but that's what we like to do, is try to figure out somebody's mindset and thoughts,
Yeah, that's the only way with this one. You can even start to even imagine, why would a cop not come out of his house with a dead cop on his line? I would just equate it to the place that I work. If one of my coworkers was at a party the night before and they died on my lawn, I would be like, what happened?
Yep.
Who did this?
I'd be so in the middle of it all. Yep.
Literally trying to figure out what happened to my coworker, what happened to this guy, like what, and
even if you woke up late.
Even if you woke up late, you still would be freaking out.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah.
And it's on a whole nother level with cops, though. They're on a whole nother level with how they, that their brotherhood, right? Their camaraderie.
We talked about that before we got on. Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. This is actually my first time watching you guys' channel.
Oh,
very cool, man.
Yeah.
Welcome, man.
Yeah. Heard you guys talking about it. I got Karen Reed all over my feed because, like I said, now I'm just like watching everything.
Yeah.
And dude, I literally don't watch this cop like cop stuff and lawyer stuff. It's just not really my thing. But
I was gonna say we've if you're into true crime, we did Making a Murder and did quite a few podcasts on that one because we had the producers of Convicting a Murder on, and we interviewed them, and that's a whole nother crazy one. But there's no updates on that one lately, but. We'll see what happens here with this trial. See what comes out. Anything new? Hopefully, I hope she testifies. I don't think she will, but I hope she will.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Tim?
You said where am I from?
Yes, sir.
Alabama.
I knew you had a southern accent.
Yep. He's a local to us.
Where are you guys located?
We're in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Well, Tim, we appreciate you having you on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. So we've been doing this little live thing for a couple of weeks now. The call-in part. We've been doing live for 10 years, but they're close to it. but the call-in part. So we appreciate you joining.
Yeah, stop back by.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll come chat it up. I watch the trial every day, so I'm pretty into it.
And
Very cool.
Gilly, thank you for subscribing. I just saw that. Sorry about that, Gilly. We're hard to keep up with chats and live.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Tim, you went way over your time, but that's okay. We'll let you go. Thank you, man.
We enjoyed it.
All right, I think he dropped off there. All right, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. We got a lot of chats we missed, I know. And James, this is up to you what you want to do because I know you have to work.
Yep, my eyes are getting a little dry, and
I'm
I'm thinking about tomorrow morning coming early.
Oh,
dang it.
I know, just now
this may be to be continued since it's a trial going on.
Yeah, we
right
could
now.
just continue this next week.
That would be
that's
so
totally
cool.
up to you.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're down for that. Let's see here. Let me just see if we can. I know we missed a lot of chats there. Okay, we were back there. That's when we apologize too. By the way, we saw while Tim was talking the stream dropping off a little bit, and I think Nev said we're good to go. And I see it. We're still getting warnings, but we're still on.
Yeah, I saw the.
So there's something going on with fucking Spectrum here again tonight because we happened in the beginning of the stream. Shannon Trim was saying yes. I see we probably saying yes to Tim there. Aaron, I think the German Shepherd being protective of the owners. Yeah, that's debatable there. We don't really know the situation with the dog. I think Tim, Dark Side Droid saying Tim, I think Tim basically believes it's some kind of cover up. That's what I got from it anyway. Gregor, Giant Eel. Who got the Giant Eel? I'm not sure. Gregor Smith. Life's a bit. No one really knows exactly where he was on the lawn because no pictures were taken, no measurement. Well, that's true. I mean, it's all like, where they said they found him and then where the cops came up and he was, I guess. But wherever he was, I'm sure he wasn't moved or anything because of the snow. I guess they wouldn't probably have known that. Let's see. Greg, the first jury didn't believe the setup theory and the second one either. I agree. I think, let's see. Me went against the CW's theory, so Proctor called her a whack job. Yeah, that was the word I was saying earlier. I was looking for whack job. And again, why did he think that? Is he just a bastard who says that about anybody? I don't know. It's like you got to think maybe even though it was horrible he said that, did he have a reason for that, Because I felt that way watching the documentary. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily whack job, but like she's definitely a diva in it, doing it for the fame and all that shit. But Gregor, my question: why was the Commonwealth so determined to lynch this woman? Brought in Whitney Bulger's corrupt lawyers or ringer. And
agreed. We're all open to the fact that it could be an accident. Why are they all of a sudden like trying to pin murder?
I agree. Yep, I understand that for sure. That's a great point. Let's see. Revenge of the Nerds, Lewis. Yeah. Oh no, Neff. Every podcast that we do, every live stream is yellow before we even go live.
Yep.
Now, sometimes I'll do a review. Not that anybody watches them after, but I'll do a review, and sometimes they'll turn green. But yeah, every time. Noel, they didn't hate John. They would have gotten him help and had him fell down. They respected him for taking in the kids. Yeah, this is part of what I was thinking too. Like, I know they didn't know all of them very well, but like, other than the texting stuff and this one guy, I don't know. It's just like, how well did they know him? Didn't they? And the family all loved her before all this happened. It's like, it's just weird. It seems to be a very small thing for a killing.
Life's a Bit says, right, but he didn't just fall down.
Right. Well, maybe. Yeah, I guess not. But something happened one way or the other. Either, I don't know. Is it either or? Is it like, okay, she hit him or they did something to him? Or is there another possibility, like you were saying? Maybe he ran in, ran out, did fall. I mean, what I was saying earlier, I'll just reiterate before we get out of here too, is if let me go back to this screen, I guess, while we're talking. If she kept saying, and she did say again, according to testimony of the paramedic that was not a cop that came on to the scene, and if she said, when she's saying, did I hit him or I hit him, asking that as a question, like I hit him, maybe I hit him, and she repeated that several times. Everybody's so foggy drunk, in her mind, she could have done something like that. You know what I mean? So if you're so clear that you didn't, like she is in the documentary and all that, why say that at all? She said she was concerned that she did, so why have that thought? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But again, you
But
know,
like I
just,
said, if you
doesn't mean she's a murderer. I'm just saying.
Right.
Let's see.
think I could explain all that. You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, thank you, Gilly, again, and Kathy for subscribing. Welcome in. Thank you, Kathy. Let's see. DUI says respect. Let's see. Richard Allen. Comrade. What was that say? John Roberts. What's he saying? I'm blind over here. My eyes are getting
so
blurry.
what I gather though is if something you would not keep a secret to cover for me, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you're saying it's impossible for people.
I'm
to
saying
keep
impossible
secrets.
for big groups, of course. Like,
but
like,
family,
like you've been in that situation, right, where somebody said, "Hey, look."
I would hope to God my friends could hold a secret that would involve possibly me going to prison forever.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
They
like
weren't
2 or 3
strangers.
close friends, but when you start getting wives and friends of wives, you know how it is. You've got that. Hey man, look, I got to tell you something, but you promised me you can't tell anybody,
But
right?
we're
And then
only
they
a
tell you
couple
this
years
little
out.
thing, and then at some point you're itching so bad, and something comes out. Somebody always speaks up, you know, at some point.
I think we're just not far enough away from it.
Could be.
There's just a couple years, 3 years out, and they're still in trial. I think they could easily all be tight-lipped.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, sure. I mean, we're not out far enough yet, but it's at some point somebody says something because people cannot shut up. And especially the more people you get, that grows exponentially. 1, 2 people, yeah, secrets for life. Like, what's the movie? What's the name? Damn it, because we were talking about Boston. Ben Affleck and what's the name? We got to go hurt some people, whatever. You got to promise me we'll never talk about it again. Who car we driving? I get that.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
I just saw him on Joe Rogan
Me
speaking
too,
of that.
dude.
Saw parts of that.
That was
Horrible.
terrible.
God almighty, I didn't know how bad that was. Anyway, third language. Yeah, the Boston.
But I think that there are, sciences to connecting these dots. And even with and it's probably because I'm an addict to the forensic files, and they're only going to show the ones where they, make a Hail Mary. You know what I mean? They took this tiny little bit of evidence and solved this huge crime.
Yeah.
So they're not going to show the sloppy ones like this that.
Yeah, and Jessica summed it up right there. Of all this, it was. There's no doubt, regardless of whether you lean guilty or innocent or accident or murder or whatever, it was 100%. There was sloppiness involved, and that's what changes. That's why these make such big news, because there's nothing clear cut. And you add on top of that, the snow and the blizzard, and they did things a little differently. Like I was saying before, the snow blower, the red Solo cups, I don't know if they're normal. Are they trained for like blizzard investigations, in Boston? I don't know. I mean, I assume there's a roping off, there's a tent, whatever. Did they do some stuff wrong? Absolutely. And it's never, so we'll never honestly know anything exactly what happened. The question is did somebody kill him over some unknown motive, or just talking to his girlfriend and you know what I mean? Like, seems
accident.
Or accident, then they covered it up or whatever. Would you, even though if you accidentally killed or a cop got hurt or somehow died in your house or whatever, would you cover it up just to, even though you were innocent, and instead of calling somebody? You know what I mean? There's lots of different things, and then you talk about he was talking about, it doesn't make sense for why you wouldn't do this. Well, we don't know how people react in all these weird situations. It's easy to armchair quarterback.
I think it's fair to expect them to react a certain way if they're a cop.
Sure, yeah. Oh, clearly, yeah, obviously, yeah.
But,
no, I agree. I'm just saying in general.
But what you just said, though, I think people have asked that. I think when the thing you said right before, you're saying before you said how he responded, like I know the answer, but I don't remember what you said to trigger it. The answer that they came up with was, "Oh, you said
you talking about the cop not coming out?
Why would they cover it up? Want to cover it up or whatever?"
Oh, if it was an accident.
If it was an accident,
yeah.
Okay. There's the answer that somebody came up with on that was they didn't expect her to be blowing it up at 4 a.m. They thought they would have more time. So that's how their alibi got sloppy. And then they had to stick to this stupid, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have time to create the perfect alibi because her drunk ass started blowing it up so
texting
early.
all night and then calling them. And that's another weird thing. Like, okay, John's missing. She calls, wakes up. It's really like 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Calls the girl who did the searches and was on her phone doing her kids' searches. Then where are they going? You know, did they ever say that? Where they drove around? I don't remember them specifically saying in that first trial where they were going to look. Are they going to, the bars are closed. Like they're looking on the road. They're physically looking for him between because I don't know how far apart they live.
Remember, they took her back to his house. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, let's go there. So okay, and then that's what I mean. That's what they were saying. Like, and she goes beelines to, and nobody else saw this lump, and then she knows exactly where to go. And then I hit him. Did I hit him? So that's all there. It's just I don't know. It's. You know, like I said, I'm still there at least where I don't think necessarily murder. I think rage, and I'll back up and he'll move, you know, or something like that. I don't know. And then he gets hit, pirouettes around. I'm not saying we don't know. I'm not going to guesstimate on how exactly you fell and this and that, but there is weird injuries for one side, and like we were talking about earlier. And then the cold gets him, and then it just spiraled out of control out there. I don't know. We'll never know, like Jessica said, because there's just not. It's not on video. It's too many variables, especially with the weather. Oh, Jessica, yeah, she thought he might have tried. Yeah, she did say that, but I don't trust. I don't like I said, I don't necessarily trust her either. Try to walk home and get hit by a snowplow. Is that a normal thing in Boston, though? Right?
He was drunk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously that, but like, is that something you think about? Hey, if somebody's walking during the snow, is a lot of snowplow accidents? I mean, seriously, I don't have a clue.
That would be the only thing out at night.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah. Anyway, so many excuses for the shoddy police work. Yeah, that's what makes these cases. Like. Yeah, so it makes these cases literally a worse than on how to collect evidence if it was nowhere near followed. Well, yeah, I mean. There's standards for sure, but I'm sure that changes by region. But yeah, I mean, you would have think that it's roped off and taped and tents come in and, you know, heaters applied, whatever you got to do. I don't know.
If they're not trained, they should stop until the training.
And somebody was asking about headlights. Yara, hey, Yara, by the way, I hope you're doing well. She was asking, the first time they found like little pieces, and then apparently day 2 and 3 there were more pieces found of the headlight, which is odd. So that's another odd part about it. Now, did they go match those pieces up to her car? You know, and again, if they did, does that mean that the cops grabbed them and put them on the ground? That's what they're implying, right? You know,
you'd have to.
That's the only way it can work. So yeah, not sure. But it's 12:47. It's late, and we got started late because of a little bit, not too bad because of the internet, and we still having issues. But James has to work, so would you like to continue this one or just see where it goes this week, maybe?
Yeah, I'll probably try to, look at some.
Yeah, I want to catch up on some stuff too, for sure. As people have brought up, and I want to check out some Turtle Boy, and I want to see somebody who thinks she's 100% guilty, because that's. When you watch Turtle Boy and you watch the other Dot dude, they are on her side, period. So they're not gonna bring up anything that counters that I can see. I mean, maybe they'll be fair, but I want to see both sides of that too. You know, so I definitely want to look into some more details now. Yeah, somebody mentioned earlier. I forgot to mention that, just to be fair, the butt dials. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. 8 butt dials. No,
and not just her,
right?
Like everybody says, must have butt dialed him.
Right.
Yeah. Come on.
It doesn't. It's what I mean. It's like one of those things where we talked about before with the Avery case and planting evidence and things like that, it's like most of the times when cops plant evidence, it is because they know they got the right dude or whatever, but they just don't have it.
Like Tony was saying.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. So this is a little different, but I mean, that mentality of, okay, well, we got to, he got hurt or it was an accident, we got to cover our asses. I don't know. It's weird. We'll never really know for sure, but we'll see what this new trial reveals. What week are we in now? Are we close to, are we near kind of still early in this trial, or are we like halfway through it?
I think 3 weeks in.
3 weeks. Okay. So it's going to be another, at least what, 3-4 weeks for this. Cause I think the first one was 6 weeks. Is that right?
I'm
I
not
think it was
100%
6 weeks.
sure.
I think it
That
was 6
sounds
weeks. Yeah. Turtle Boy's an ass, but he knows a lot about the case. What Jessica said. Well, yeah, I mean, Jessica, what I'm saying is we got bamboozled by making a murderer and all that, regardless of what you believe on the side of that. But if somebody's not open to the fact, and then again, I don't know the guy. Maybe if he's not saying like there is a chance that she did it, then he's not going to ever look at any evidence contrary to that, is what I mean. But I'll check out some stuff for sure. I want to see both sides, try to be fair. Anyway, I think we got a few calls in there. I think we covered the majority of the weird stuff. I mean, we'll see what else comes out in the next couple weeks.
Gregor, my vape. Yeah, I tried. I hear it when I watch them back.
Yeah,
too. I try so hard to be quiet.
Right.
Well, like Darth Vader.
John Roberts, 200 calls is creating a narrative and shows guilt. What, 200 calls?
Talking about her blowing his phone up.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could be looked at like that for sure. Like I'm covering my ass.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
what
kind
we
of,
said
I kind of
that
keep
night.
going back to that, just kind of thinking back to what we watched and the things we talked about tonight is, if you're calling somebody doesn't come home, you naturally call them and she's obviously mad. You pervert, you're out cheating or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come back to the scene and you're frantic, and then you go straight to the body, and again, that's what they say. That's just I'm going by what they say. And then it was testified by the medic that she did, in fact, say, did I hit him or I hit him, all that. If that's in your mind, then somewhere in your psyche, you think that's a possibility yourself. You know, because you were drunk. You were drunk as shit.
Yeah. But I explain that by, you know, it does make you look fishy. And I don't just blow it off, but that's somebody who's openly trying to think of every possible thing, especially when they,
But if that in fact happened, where she said that so many times and then asked the girl to Google that, like how long to die in the cold, it's like, well, maybe she's been out here since I left. You know, I don't know, just going through thoughts of what she might have been thinking in that moment. It's all a clusterfuck.
But that's where you got to pick who you believe.
Yep, that's right.
You know, did she ask her that?
Right. Excuse me.
And there were other first responders who never heard her say anything about, did I hit him?
Well, the piece of the piece that I watched today.
Picked it up?
No, camera never did. The piece I watched with the new trial today was the girl EMT who did repeat that, and at least again, that's her testimony.
There's other people who testified that were there.
Well, there was
never heard
her, and there was one other cop that said she asked that once.
The last trial. It was in an asking way. Anything.
I hit her question mark, like
if
in
anything.
that manner, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a crazy one. All righty, so let's see. Looks like Mates Clowney knows due to a discussion amount of incompetence, Ms. Conant has been ensured that right. That's what it boils down to. Yep, exactly. We just will never know. And then, like I said, Tony was right. She'll get off regardless because of the sloppy bullshit and the texting and the, calling her a cunt and all that stuff. That'll get her off. It's enough. It's enough for. But again, the first one was a mistrial. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But all right, y'all, are we good? We'll keep an eye on it this week, and we'll see if we want to continue this next week or do something completely different.
See, that's the kind of shit I wish I could watch the trial when all witnesses can't answer simple yes or no questions, you know, and I don't know that they can or can't because I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I need to see. Yeah, John, it's you know, it depends
And
on the
changing
context
the
there.
testimony.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it to know that.
Right. Yeah, we'll do some digging here, some more digging, and kind of catch up here and see. But I'm curious, you know, are there any people on YouTube, and maybe you guys know, what's up, Steven? Is it good night? Is there anybody just out there that has the other side, you know, that thinks she's guilty, whether it was an accident or not, but they're doing YouTube videos? Are there any of those out there that do that, you know, or these is just the ones that are like the free Karen people? You know,
You
what
would
I mean?
think with that many blue shirts showing up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you would think so. All righty. Well, are we good? Anything else? I know you got to roll. I know you got to get up.
yeah, we're like
We're a little bit
an hour.
We're like we're close to an hour over than our usual. So this is a little longer. But we expected to
Yes.
we expected to go a
No
little longer.
problem
Probably
with it.
want to start at 9, but then of course everything blows up. Of course, that's fucking our luck. But anyway. All right, y'all. Well, we'll keep up with this. Comment on this video, like James said earlier. If you know there's something new that we haven't seen, we're gonna check it out too. But when this posts as a video here in a couple, it'll post here in a little bit or whatever. Leave comments in this one. We'll come back to this to write down points if we want to pick this up next week or whatever. You know, any updates or inside information or whatever for sure.
Yeah, and John Roberts, come on next time if we talk about it. Big city ER and trauma RN. He got bit by a dog and didn't get hit by a car.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear you take it.
Yeah, let us know why, and leave us a comment, John. In the if
Yeah.
you want to write if you want to write a long one, type it out, and we'll talk about it next week for sure if we dig into what we want to do. But anyway, guys, we will get out of here. So some people can work tomorrow, and hopefully this stream goes down okay and didn't like stop and start. It didn't start another one, right? We never lost that, right? I don't think we did. I don't think it was offline long enough.
I was
Because we've had that before.
Yes,
we rarely have internet issues, and then of course we have this whole thing planned here, and of course it blows up. But I think we got through most of it okay.
Dude, like a 15-foot tree limb fell on my cable drop.
Oh my God!
Over the
of course.
week. Had it stretched so far, I got it off. I just knew I was going to have intermittent issues or something.
Yeah, and I don't know. I literally was like, well, because I hadn't reset everything in a long time, it's going to be a big stream. I think I'm going to reset everything, reset the computer, did all that. Was totally fine. But anyway, that's the way it works. All right. Y'all have a good one. Have a good week. And we will be back Sunday with something. We'll post it. And if we do this, I'll try to schedule it earlier. So we'll get together and talk about it, dig in a little more if we want to continue this or something's.
We always share stuff throughout the week. When we see something.
But I'm sure there'll be this trials in week. They said 3, right, or 4 now.
I think so. Yeah,
we got plenty to go. We may jump back into this one and see if we can get some little more clarification on some things. All righty. Well, good. Anything we're missing?
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting to say something.
Happy Mother's Day one last time.
Oh yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Have a good week. Thanks for watching. And let me pull this up here. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.